At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. Today's game is brought to you in high def by Verizon Fios. If you're not watching in Fios HD, see what you're missing. Call 1-888-GET-FIOS. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez. Did you guys coordinate your jackets?
Nice.
It's very nice, like a uniform.
I like Ronnie's tie better.
I wish you'd gotten me one. Anyway, the Mets and the Nats will close out their three-game series today. The rubber game of three after the Mets snapped their six-game losing streak yesterday with a 3-2 win. And as he has been for, more than 2 months since he arrived, Jeff Francoeur was a huge part of the Mets attack.
Well, since coming over on the trade, he had just been on a tear. He's got 23 multi-hit games in the 63 games as a Met. And over this last 9 games, he's hitting at a 475 clip. And you can see right there, we can run that all day for you. It's everywhere. And in those 9 games, 5 3-hit games. So Jeff's been red hot. We all know about his presence in the clubhouse. He is a bright day, a shiny face on a cloudy day in that clubhouse, and plus his defense in the outfield, his arm. He's just made a great contribution to this ball club.
Meanwhile, John Maine will make his second start since returning from the disabled list, and the reins will be off him a little bit more than the first time.
Yeah, he's going to go about 80 pitches in today's ball game as they're going to try to see what he can do down the stretch in these few starts. Really has to prove to them, I think, that he can get back to that 100-pitch level and be effective and be a person that when they go to spring training next year, they know that he's going to be part of this rotation.
And Garrett Mock will pitch for Washington, a guy the Nationals are trying to decide whether he should be starting or relieving.
You know, they really recently named Mike Rizzo as the general manager. He came over from Arizona. He brought Mock over with him when the Livan Hernandez trade. It's a guy that he really likes. He has all the tools in the world, has struggled so far this season with walks.
So John Maine goes to the mound for the Mets. Garrett Mock for the Nats on a gorgeous day in New York. Football elsewhere, baseball here. Mets and Nats, first pitch coming right up. By Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. By Verizon Fios, over 100 HD channels and the fastest internet. This is Fios. This is big. By Capital One Bank, what's in your wallet? By Raymore and Flanagan, furnishing your style. By Honda, the 2009 Honda clearance is here, but it ends soon. Hurry into your Honda dealer today. And by BP, help your car run younger for longer. Try BP gasoline with Invigorate. Visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest online selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Mets.com shop. Keys to the game brought to you by Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet?
Well, obviously, John Maine out here today, and he's got to work on his shoulder strength. And the only way to do that is do some exercises in that clubhouse and go out and throw. He's going to throw today. The Mets got to capitalize on the Nats' errors. They lead the majors in errors. They took advantage of that yesterday, and something the Mets didn't do yesterday. They didn't make any mental mistakes, and they won. And they have a chance. Those are the keys to take a series. Gary, when's the last time they took a series?
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Forgot.
The Mets, if they win today, will clinch fourth place. They will not be able to finish in the cellar if they win today. It's always something to aspire to.
Absolutely.
Crowd coming into the rotunda. First pitch next. Smart way to keep moving forward. Adam Dunn reached 100 RBIs yesterday for the 5th time in his career. He's got 37 home runs, trying to get to 40 for the 6th time in his career. Ian Desmond, who played right field yesterday, goes back to his normal position at shortstop. Jamie Burke, just acquired the other day from the Mariners, makes his first start behind the plate.
Well, John Maine pitching for the Mets today. The longest he's gone in a game for the Mets this year was 6 2/3 innings. Probably not going to make that today on an 80 pitch mark. 38 and 32 lifetime. There was so much promise at the end of May when he was 5-3 with a 3.5 ERA.
Well, one of the starts he made in late May was against the Nationals. He went 6 strong innings in that game, allowed just 1 run and 4 hits for a 5-2 win. Willie Harris takes the first pitch of the afternoon for a strike. And we're underway. Harris 1 for 8 in the series. Has started all 3 games in this series in center field. Hitting just .227 for the year, but a .367 on base percentage, and that's why he's been doing most of the leading off lately. Ian Desmond and Ryan Zimmerman to follow against Maine in the first. And Harris hooks one toward the right field corner, and a foul ball. 1-2.
Well, Harris's problem, Keith, I don't know if you agree. When I watch him play, he's got a little bit of pop. See Ian Desmond on deck, but he hits a lot of balls in the air. And I think for a guy like him, he needs to hit line drives and ground balls.
He's a leadoff guy, Ron. He's hit a lot of fly ball outs so far. A little bit of uppercut on that high ball, but he's got to utilize his speed.
And he lifts this one to right field. And Frank Core, with the sun shining in his eyes, has the sunglasses on and makes the grab, one away.
And we'll take a look at the defense, brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. There's the Chevy logo right there, folks, in the lower right. 3 pass balls and 9 gains for Josh Tolley. Remember, he's a work in progress back there. He didn't come up as a catcher. Actually played his first 3 years in the minors, I believe, at another position, and then made the transfer over when a catcher down in, I think, St. Lucie got hurt, and he got thrown into the catcher's role.
Here's Ian Desmond hitting second in the order. Desmond 1 for 8 in this series. 28 big league at bats now, and he's hitting .393.
Did you tell me Desmond played right field yesterday?
Yes. And here's how he played right field yesterday. He looked very athletic, but in the first inning, it was a day much like today as Desmond pulls one foul. Bright sunshine, and we showed the left fielder Willingham with his sunglasses on.
Check.
Center fielder Harris with his sunglasses on.
Check.
Right fielder Desmond, first game in his life that he's ever played in the outfield, high school, little league, ever, sunglasses on his hat.
But when he made the error, there wasn't an error. He misjudged the line drive that cost him the game.
Rights, right?
Yes, right to double.
Yeah, he froze on a ball right over his head.
And he had the glasses on.
Okay. All right.
So maybe he should have kept them on.
He's evolving as we speak.
He's exonerated.
Now, Desmond is a guy who, as early as 4 years ago in spring training with the Nats, they were thinking about keeping him around because of his defense at shortstop. Off the corner, 2-2.
Well, he is a fantastic athlete and a very spectacular kind of shortstop, and the plays that he can make, great speed. I've always had trouble really hitting until this year, showing that he could hit major league pitching.
Drives this one to center, and Beltran is there waiting for it. So 2 batters, 2 fly ball outs. That's a John Maine type start.
And more importantly, that radar gun at 91 miles an hour. His first start out is his velocity was down. You know, naturally you would expect it to be, but a little bit getting up in the 90s. That's where John needs to be.
I think you'd love to see 94, though. By the time his last start here, 94 would be a nice thing to take into the offseason. That's where he usually lives.
And I think we really witnessed in his start in Philadelphia last Sunday that he was not fully letting the ball go as Ryan Zimmerman takes a strike.
Yeah, he's been a little reticent, and I think that's really described this year, hasn't it? Coming back from that shoulder surgery on that Bennett lesion on his back of his shoulder. Just hasn't let it go.
Ball just foul, 0-2. Zimmerman 3 for 8 in this series, including an opposite field home run that was his 30th of the year. He's scored 100 runs, and he's now just 4 RBIs shy of 100 runs batted in for the year. Been a very good year for Ryan Zimmerman, who was the Nationals' lone representative in the All-Star game this year. And a pop-up in foul ground. Right with the glasses on, looking for it, but it's
nice catch.
Made a beautiful play right on top of the dugout roof.
Nice.
Always good to bring your glove.
Hey, he brought that glove to the ballpark, and lo and behold, the first inning. Look at him. Piece of cake. Sign him up. That'll bolster our minor league system. That's
swoosh.
Very nice. He had his shades on. Did you see that?
You better. 1-2. Although third base dugout is not the Sun Field here at Citi Field.
He's just trying to look cool then. All right.
Oh, okay. Catching up here.
1-2 to Zimmerman, grounded out to short. Valdez deep in the hole, shows off his arm. Murphy with the stretch, side retire. 1-2-3 opening inning for John Maine. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. So the by Raymore and Flanagan, furnishing your style. Your Mets starting lineup brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. Another start for Josh Thole, who all of a sudden has gone 0 for 10. They started throwing him some high heat. We'll see how he adjusts to that. Carlos Beltran didn't play yesterday, back in the lineup today. And as Hit Wells is coming back, facing Garrett Mock, making his 13th start.
Well, Mock's been used as a reliever a lot by the Nationals before really this season, and now he's going to make his 13th start. He's averaging about 100 pitches per every 6 innings pitched. Last start against the Phillies, gave up 5 runs in the first 2 innings, but got through 6 innings. But the walks have been his problem. 34 and 73 in the 3rd innings pitched.
Angel Pagan 4 for his last 22, so he's seen his batting average drop just below 300 at 299.
And we'll bring you the Nationals defense, brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. And that's 15 errors this season for Mr. Zimmerman, but I think he is on his way. That's the 3rd most, as you can see, by NL third basemen. You know what? You don't care about the guys that make the most errors, or the guys with the best range, because they have more chances. He's a Gold Glover.
David Wright's won the Gold Glove at third base each of the last 2 years, but I think you're right, Keith. I think this is Zimmerman's year.
You know, Keith, to back up your point, and third baseman's in MLB. He's got the most putouts and most assists, 412 total if you add those up. This is Ryan Zimmerman, so he is all over the field.
You know, my dad always told me, don't worry about the errors, pay attention to the assists. So, you know, a guy like Garvey, who won the unseated for the Gold Glove in '78, I believe. My first time I won a Gold Glove. Garvey never made an error. He only covered.
Didn't move.
Covered 6 feet left and right.
He also never threw to second base to try to get the lead runner.
And that's no knock on Steve Garvey. Steve Garvey is one of the finest players I competed against over my career.
You know, you talk about looking at the assists, but wouldn't you say that it's hard to judge anybody's defense from numbers, that you kind of have to use your eyes?
Agreed, but also starting double plays, which means going in the hole, ranging in the hole to start a double play, which is an assist for a first baseman.
Pagan rips one into right field, and he's got a base hit, and Dukes can't cut it off, so it goes to the wall, sticks under the fence. Dukes picks it out, and Pagan stands at second with his 16th double of the year. Would have been interesting had Dukes let that go to see whether they would have called that one a ground rule double.
Angel kind of sat a few days, I think, kind of lost a little bit of his stroke timing, and now he's played a couple games in a row, and here he is back to his old ways, which are beating on a baseball.
You're right, Gary. Against the Philadelphia Phillies, he hit that ball to left center that Victorino let stay under the wall. Of course, Ibanez retrieved it before he did Pagan with the inside the park home run.
So Dukes was taking no chances. Now Castillo with the corners in, looking for the sacrifice, because that's what Louis does, and he drops down a beauty. Tough play for Zimmerman. Off balance. Oh, and he got him. Well, there's a Gold Glove play by Ryan Zimmerman, who ended up in the first base on deck circle after releasing that throw.
Now this is just athleticism here. This is a perfect bunt. Look at Louis deaden it. And watch this. On the run, he has to throw underhand to get it around the runner, get that sink around the runner, and put some mustard on it. That's just a heck of a play.
I thought he had made a mistake by gloving that ball.
Yeah.
But he had enough time.
Well, yeah, he has a great sense of how quick he needs to be to get Castillo. And on a perfect bunt, he made a perfect play.
So it's a sacrifice for Castillo, his 15th of the year. That's the most among National League position players. And now the Mets have a runner at third for David Wright. Infield back up the middle, even with the bags at the corners. David hitting at .315, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike.
David thought that ball was low, and I'm inclined to agree with him. You see the defense shading David to right center field, and I agree. He has been trying to go that way.
Pulls it right over the bag. That's a foul ball. Just barely missed. Mark Wagner, the third base umpire, first had to get out of the way before he made the call and ruled it to be foul.
Let's take a peek here. Wow. Oh, want to dance.
I don't think David was so sure.
That ball started about 8 to 10 inches fair on the grass and ended up foul, according to Wagner.
This umpiring crew was involved in quite a bit of controversy in their last series in Boston. They had that Red Sox-Angels series that resulted in some rather pointed commentary after the game from Mike Scioscia and Brian Fuentes after the Red Sox rallied to win the last game of that series. And the umpires, in fact, Rick Reed is the crew chief. He's behind the plate today. Have filed a grievance with Major League Baseball about some of the things that the Angels said, both publicly and to them after the game.
What are they going to do?
Well, the problem at Fenway is that when the umpires leave the field, they have to go pretty much through the visitors' clubhouse.
Yeah, they do. They do. And it makes for an awkward moment when you have a heated game like that. And the third base umpire, Mark Wagner, in fact, after hearing the abuse, came back to give some back to the coaching staff of Mike Scioscia.
What are you going to do with a grievance? You're going to take him to the woodshed and give him 20 lashes? Make him write in the chalkboard 100 times, I will not make, you know, come on, give me a break.
Well, after that series, after that game particularly, Fuentes was incensed enough that he said that some umpires come to Fenway Park, and he said they are scared to make calls. And using the word scared was, I thought, pretty harsh.
Well, he looked pretty scared when he walked the leadoff batter Ortiz on 4 pitches. So watch out.
Inside, and David has to pull the parachute, just barely got out of the way. David was quoted in Newsday today talking about how he's flinching a little bit more. He was admitting to the fact that it's a little bit harder right now to avoid moving early on those pitches inside.
Well, he's going to have to get over it if he wants to continue to compete.
Breaking ball in there for a call, strike 3, and he flinched at that one. Mock gets the strikeout to pin Pagong at third. Now there are 2 out.
We used to say buckle your world.
Yeah.
You see, David, flinch is a better word. That's a great word, Garrett.
But it was all set up by the 2 fastballs in that pushed right off the plate, started a breaking ball in the same spot, did not come in, and took a left turn there for the strikeout.
Well, what David said in that article today that was written by Anthony Reber, he said, look, I expect that the more at bats I get, the more it's going to go away. But, you know, it's not too many hitters who will admit to that. And I thought that was pretty interesting to read.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know if it was prudent. I don't know if I'd ever say those words. But luckily, we're not playing in 1967 or 68 because it was very mean in those days, and another guy would have taken another shot at his dome. That's just how it went in those days. Agree, Keith, or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beltran hitting at .335, hits one toward the middle. Gonzalez on the backhand throws him out, and the Mets are unable to score after a leadoff double by Angel Pagan. To the second at Citi Field with no score. Begins tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your printed home tickets now. Second inning with no score. Adam Dunn leads off against John Maine. Dunn 1 for 8 in the series, drove in a run with a base hit yesterday in the 7th inning to give him 100 RBIs for the season.
Well, he's 3 shy from 40, and that would be 6 years in a row that he's hit 40 home runs or more, and that would A-Rod did it. So that puts him in rarefied air right there, and I think it shows in his swing a little bit. He's trying to lift.
I know he came up with Cincinnati. Now he's moved over here to the Nationals. Had a harder time finding a job than most people thought this winter. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten more love from the American League, that someone wouldn't want him getting 500 at-bats or 550 in a smaller ballpark.
Josh Willingham on deck, and then Elijah Dukes. You saying he'd be better off as a DH?
Well, to have some games so he can DH, because he's defensively challenged.
Popped up into that difficult area where the short fence is, and Castillo staggering, can't make the play, and then drapes over the railing, but he's okay. That is such a difficult spot down there.
Well, Louis does everything he's supposed to do. Checks, tries to get there, and just out of his reach.
Just out of his reach is right.
Good Met fans. No one got up to challenge that. Let Louis go after it by himself.
Well, the catcher's mitt was there just in case. This is the one in the exhibition game against the Red Sox. His first encounter with that short fence over there. Pulled to the right side into the shift, and Murphy with the flip to Maine for the first out.
Good play by Murph on the backhand. The toss, though, what he should do, and I know you know this better than me, Keith, be nice if, as soon as he makes that play, start to sprint toward first and shorten that gap for the toss. That's a hard toss that long.
You talk about walking it over there?
Yeah.
Yep. You always got to walk, break the distance down.
That far would be overhand. You want to make that toss.
Right.
Now Josh Willingham with one out. Willingham 2 for 7 in this series, including a home run on Friday night. 23 home runs, 60 RBIs for Willingham, who has less than 400 at bats, because early in the season he was not playing regularly. In foul ground, Tolley for a look, and he has room to make the grab. So Willingham fouls out.
Well, How about this shot right into the camera? Look at Jimmy.
That was a nice play by the young Tolley. Long way to go for that. You know, I was watching John Maine when that pop-up went. One of the things you can do, and he stayed on the mound, a better choice would be to run over here and sprint over, because you can make the call if the first baseman and catcher are not sure. You can yell out the name and get one to give to the other.
Elijah Duke's foul went away.
See, watch John. See, this ball goes up. Sprint over there with your catcher and first baseman, because if they're undecided, you can start yelling, "Hey, Josh," to make sure that Murphy and Josh don't collide.
Santana would have been running over there.
Oh,
of course,
he must have caught it. Yeah, exactly. He must have catch it.
Off the corner, and it's 1-1 to Dukes, who didn't play last night but has been hot. Has a 20-game on-base streak and is hitting .381 over that stretch. Well, the Pats just kicked a field goal. 6:50 to go, first quarter. 3-0 New England.
They shouldn't have opened their mouths all week.
Jets have already fumbled twice in the game. Down the right field line, and that's foul.
Yeah, but the Patriots have a couple chances already in this game, and the Jets defense is coming out to play too.
Yep. I mean, they had first down on the 17 after Leon Washington fumbled. They only got 3 points out of it. We'll keep you up to date, folks. Keep it here. 2-2 to Dukes.
Oh,
back past Maine. Castillo there to play the hop, and the side retired. So 6 up and 6 down for John Maine to start the afternoon. Middle of the second, no score. The Diamondbacks 10-4 last night, so they are 3.5 up in the wild card. Twins have won 6 straight. They beat the Tigers yesterday 6-2 with a 5-run 8th. They're just 2 games behind Detroit, and they'll have Scott Baker going today against the Tigers. John Lester always beats the Orioles. Didn't pitch well yesterday, but beat them nonetheless 11-5. The Red Sox 7 games up on Texas for the AL wild card.
You know, you people at home must think we're crazy because we're always harping on the Minnesota Twins, but the reason we do it is, one, they play the game right. They have their best player or second best player Morneau out, but also because we really appreciate the effort. As this ball is pulled foul by Murphy by their manager Ron Gardenhire, their pitching coach Rick Anderson, both ex-Mets.
Well, they're also a model of stability. They've had 2 general managers and 2 managers in the last 30 years, and that's how you win.
Yeah,
by keeping stable, keeping to your philosophy, growing players within your farm system, especially if you're a smaller market team. And the Twins have been extremely successful doing just that. Murphy cracks one toward the gap in right center field. That'll be between them and all the way to the bullpen fence. Murphy might have a chance for 3 as it bounces away from Harris, and Murphy will easily get to third base with a triple. 4th triple of the year for Daniel Murphy.
Well, everybody talks about a lack of power in this Met club because of the injuries this year and the need for power. Well, you got a ballpark here. You stuff a bunch of good hitting line drive hitters. You can take advantage of the big wide spaces and be a team that can hit a lot of triples.
That's 44 triples for the Mets this year, 26 since the All-Star break, which is the most in the majors.
A little fastball right down the middle as Murphy was ready.
Yep.
Now Jeff Francoeur has been red hot, and he attacks the first one and fouls it off the right side. Done over for a look, but that's in the crowd.
What a surprise, Jeff Francoeur attacking that first pitch. 38 hits on a first pitch plate appearance this season. How about that? I actually read one of these things.
And ties him for the second most first pitch hits in the National League. Same as Pablo Sandoval. So they each have 38.
Yeah.
Hanley Ramirez has 52.
Yeah. We saw that here.
Hits.
We saw that here. He had 3 hits on 3 pitches one time in one of the games here at City.
And you can thank Elias Sports Bureau for that information. They give us wonderful little tidbits before every game.
By the way, those first pitch hits for Hanley Ramirez, they haven't hurt his batting average. He's hitting .353 started today, and looks like a shoe-in for the National League batting title.
He's locked.
Mock in that first inning had to work extra hard with 1 out and Pagan on third and got out of it. Now he's going to have to do it with no outs and a runner on third.
Got the middle infielders back. Dunn and Zimmerman at the corners could come home with a ground ball.
Shading Francoeur a little bit. They've been playing to right center field. Oh boy.
Mock comes up and in to get him for his second strikeout. So he fanned right with a runner at third. Now he gets Francoeur for the first out of this inning.
You know, he's been doing a good job with a sequence of pitches. Threw a slider away that was fouled off, and then you saw the grip. Just a fastball up in the strike zone. A favorite place for opposing pitchers to go against Jeff when they're up 2 strikes.
Now the infield's going to come in with 1 out with Josh Thole coming up against Mock. Thole 0 for his last 10 and has appeared all of a sudden a little susceptible to that high fastball.
I also think the outfielders play too shallow. Harris is very shallow in center, but the left fielder, Willingham and Dukes, too deep in right and left field.
Right back to Mock, but he can't handle it. The throw coming home from Desmond, safe. Murphy beat the tag, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead. A rookie mistake by Desmond, who really didn't have a play. And Murphy able to score.
Well, if Mock fields this ball, he's 1 out getting out of this jam. And you're right, Garrett. Poor choice by Desmond to throw home. He should have got the easy out at first. No chance to get Murph.
I mean, he made a good throw, did everything he could, and he still didn't get him.
Just that's not knowing your runner. The catcher Thole can run a little bit, but not enough to make that a base hit. Taken out, it would have been 2 outs run in, but.
And a gift for Thole. They're going to give him a hit.
Yes.
That should be a fielder's choice because he had an easy out at first. But Thole will take it. And the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Tole's 5th RBI. Now Wilson Valdez, who's 1 for 6 in this series.
1 for 6, but swinging a good bat. Hit the ball hard.
Had a great series in Atlanta right before that.
The 2 double plays he's hit into in this series were bullets. He just right at the third baseman, Zimmerman, and the second baseman yesterday.
Nice time to hit and run right here, wouldn't it? Sure. Valdez with the stroke, Thole with a little bit of speed.
2-0 to Valdez with the pitcher Maine on deck. Valdez getting more and more playing time at shortstop. The Mets really like his defense. Already has shown off his arm with a play from the hole today. Double play ball right to Desmond. 6-6-3 to end the inning. But the Mets get a run. Daniel Murphy with the leadoff triple, leading to the first run of the game. Brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. 1-0 New York here for 2.
brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. Find your nearest dealer on ChevyOffers.com. Beautiful day in New York. Here's that play by Desmond.
Well, Murph was breaking on contact, and you can see the reaction here. He's not happy with himself.
Well, see, you can have all the athletic talent in the world. You can be able to get every ball in the world. But just because you're playing in doesn't always mean you come home. You have to dictate what happens to the baseball. That's a play that should have been made by Mock. He did not make it, and it was slowed down just enough that he had to go to first base. Simple as that.
Now, what point did Murphy break? Did he break
right away
when it got past the pitcher?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. He waited until the ball got past the pitcher. He did. But I will say he was off the base, ready to go, and as soon as he watched the ball and as soon as he saw it go by the pitcher, he broke straight away. It was a good reaction by Murphy.
Alberto Gonzalez with the slow grounder. Valdez charging. One away. 7 up and 7 down for John Maine, who's off to a terrific start today.
We'll take a look at Murph here and see on contact. You're right, he kind of hesitated a little bit. But the ball was back to the pitcher, but good reaction.
Yeah, that was good.
That hadn't been said. It's a play Mock certainly should have made.
Good base running. We like to see that. Nice reactions.
Perfect.
Aggressive.
I mean, you tell a guy when he's running on contact, make sure it clears the pitcher, right?
Pitcher perfect.
Here's Jamie Burke, his first at bat for the Nationals. Burke, a 37-year-old, mostly minor league journeyman, who the Nats picked up just a few days ago in a cash deal from Seattle because they were running out of catchers.
In the notes today, he was dubbed with a label, Gary.
Yes, the backup/mentor, which means that he played 22 games in the minors this year and 13 games in the majors. Healthy player.
Well, they needed someone.
He is.
Flores down, Nieves down.
I know this will not sit well with our producer, Dan Barr, but Jamie Burke, a product of Oregon State.
Oh. Goodness. He's got the Dukes up. He's filling that truck with uppercuts right now.
Dan's a Ducks guy.
The Corvallis, baby.
How did those Oregon Ducks do last night?
They won. Last time I looked, it was 31-10. I don't know what the final score was.
Utah?
Yes.
Foul back. By the way, you know what happened to the Bronx last night? Columbia 40, Fordham 28.
How did that happen? I mean, Columbia scored 40 points. That's what I want to know.
Quarterback Mr. Olawale had a big night for the light blue. First road win in 3 years. And by the way, Mr. Matchkowski should be along at some point to sing the Columbia Fight song.
Oh, very nice.
You're victorious.
If he doesn't, we're going to have to shame him into it. 2-2 to Burke.
What was the final score there?
40-28.
Oh, it was a rout.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yale won. We beat that football powerhouse Georgetown yesterday.
They have a football team?
Yes, they do.
Off the corner, and it's 3-2. Well, Maine's looked good so far.
Yes, he has.
Pitcher Mock on deck.
I think this start has to physically and mentally be a start that's much easier for John than the last one, right? First start back from an injury, always a little tentative. He looks a lot more free and easy in this ball game this afternoon.
Able to throw his slider effectively early.
Pitch count down.
It's very bizarre to see a lot of these Mets back playing. They've been out all year.
Well, he missed more than 3 months.
Jeez.
98 days.
And ball 4 to Burke, and the Nats have their first base runner of the afternoon. Here's your upcoming schedule, brought to you by Tri-State Ford Dealers. Mets welcome in the Braves tomorrow night for the first of 3. Pat Mish against Derek Lowe tomorrow. Braves still alive in that wild card race, 4.5 behind. And then the Marlins, who are also still alive, 4 games back. Mets will be in Florida next weekend, then in Washington before they return home for the final series of the year against the Houston Astros. Jamie Burke aboard on the walk. Garrett Mock up there to bunt and takes a strike.
Keith, your home's in Florida. What's the weather like in September?
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Hot.
Still hot? Okay.
Still a lot of humidity. It is spectacular, Mark.
For us older guys, the humidity and hot is good for the bones.
Popped up. It drops in front of Maine. And he gets the out at first. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Burke to second with 2 out. Well, it should be plenty warm for us in Florida. We have 3 in a small booth.
Oh, that's right. Very small booth.
Usually I go with the high chair, the bar stool there behind you two, so we can all fit.
We've tried that here too.
Yes, we have. That didn't work very well either.
And we have the bib for you this time too.
Thank you very much.
Here's Willie Harris, who flied to right his first time up with the tying run at second and 2 out. Harris just 1 for 9 in this series. That was a bunt hit against Tim Redding. That was the first hit against Redding yesterday. In fact, the only one he allowed in the first 6 innings of the game. Redding pitched another terrific game.
Yes, he did.
That was the best slider I've seen him have, especially that backdoor to left-handed hitters.
He started out throwing that fastball early, Ron. Got a nice rhythm.
I heard one of his comments. I thought it was unbelievable. He said that if I had to give myself a grade in the first half, it was definitely an F. But he goes, I've been trending north. He goes, right now probably a C-, a 2.0. I'm almost worthy of another full scholarship. Working towards a full scholarship. He's got a great sense of humor. Good guy.
Well, you got guys on the staff right now fighting for jobs. Whether it's Redding or Nelson Figueroa or Pat Mish, they're all hoping to fill back of the rotation positions for next year.
You see the index finger is raised a little bit on the breaking ball. Very interesting. Almost like a knuckle curve. That ball ended up being a fastball.
He might have changed his grip.
Jerry also mentioned Nieve, if he comes back from not injury, that he did some good work 3-3 with the Mets, and Nice, depending on how that leg heals. There's guys that are all going to be in camp fighting for.
Yes.
Well, it provides some competition for the incumbents, Maine and Perez and Pelfrey, in those 2, 3, and 4 spots, as in addition to guys fighting for that 5th job next year. Of course, the Mets, they'll have to decide to sign John Maine.
Yeah.
You assume that they will. Harris pops one up as Maine got in on his fist. Valdez out to call, and now called off by Pagan, who makes the play to end the inning. A walk and 1 left. Middle of the 3rd. Mets up 1-0. Coffees made with fresh ground espresso now at McDonald's. So tune into the Picks Game of the Week for your chance to win free Mets tickets. An absolutely picture perfect afternoon. Temperature right around 70 degrees. Not a cloud to be seen anywhere. Just a little tiny light breeze. Perfect.
A lot of options for things to do today, whether it be here at our ballpark, Meadowlands, Central Park. Beautiful day.
We don't
out on the sag.
We don't have any options. We're here.
But we enjoy being here.
Yes.
We're out of options.
John Maine with 4 hits this season takes a strike. Well, it's been a very productive afternoon for Maine already. He only lasted 3 innings in his first start because of pitch count. Well, the way he's going right now, he might be able to go 5 or 6. There's your Verizon high-speed pitch. Verizon Fios. This is Fios. This is big. Maine at 92. Mock at 93 this afternoon. And Maine pops one up. Alberto Gonzalez shading his eyes. 1 away.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that Mock has done very well. He's got a couple guys on third, but he's thrown strikes. 8 of the 9 hitters he's faced first time through the order, first pitch strikes to 8 of them. That's pretty darn good.
He's got good curveball too. I like his breaking stuff. He's another guy that's see so many rushed up, really thrown in the big leagues and don't have the command of all their pitches. And you know, not too long ago you'd be down AAA holding those skills. But today they bring him up.
Mock is 26 years old, out of the University of Houston. Got his first big league experience with the Nats last year after coming up through the Arizona farm system.
A lot more kids getting drafted out of college than back in my day. Well, I think that's why they get them up quicker, because really colleges, you know,
He's 21 years old, 22, yeah. Colleges in the day probably weren't as good as the programs they have now. There are fewer. You know, you had maybe a half dozen that were great.
What do you think the level is? I know it's different because of the aluminum bat.
Yeah.
But what's the level of a major college program now? Is it a single A? Is that a double A?
It's not double A. I would say a single A. Occasionally you'll have 1 or 2 studs on your team that can make a difference.
Yeah.
They can make a stud on your team in college can make a huge difference compared to a double A or a single A team.
Like a Tom Seaver at SC, Dave Kingman at SC.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that if the colleges used wood bats exclusively, that players would be able to make the transition, both pitchers and hitters, faster than they do now?
I would think so. I mean, you're using a bat you can't use in a big league level. Pitchers can't break bats. How do you scout someone's power when they're using an aluminum bat?
Yeah. I would say now it's an easier transition just because they can shape the bats the way they have the newer bats. They can shape it with the thin handle. In the day, they never had those thin handles like that. And I guess lets people know at home that is mostly the want of most college hitters. They want most of that mass in the head of the bat.
Poked into center field, and Pagan is 2 for 2. So Angel with a double and now a single to center, and he's aboard with 1 out.
Pagan has really found a home here at Citi Field, hasn't he?
Well, he had a 19-game Citi Field hitting streak stopped yesterday, but he's started a new one today.
Well, Ronnie, you mentioned hit and run a while ago. This would be a good spot for it, too.
Yeah.
Or if Pagan gets a jump, steal it. Make it happen. Big ballpark. I think speed's imperative for any future Met ball club. Lots of speed. You don't want any brontosauruses out there clogging up the bases.
Yeah, you got a veteran catcher also. You know, see what kind of arm he has.
Castillo sacrificed his first time up. Pats just added another field goal, 6-0 New England. 11.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, since you're giving scores, there's a couple other games I'm interested in.
Nobody cares.
I'm very much interested in that Carolina game.
You'll get the in the break. You'll get those scores.
I'll give you an update on whatever you'd like.
Thank you.
2-0 now to Castillo.
I believe Carolina's. Are they home? Or are they? I should know that. I just slipped my mind.
Carolina is playing at Atlanta, and they're leading 9-7 in the second quarter.
That's right. I like
There's a strike, 2-1.
I like Carolina in that game.
That'd be great. Sundays in September, you could be the handicapper here during the Sunday games.
Pagan at first and 1 out, 2-1, perfect hit and run count. Not going, line to right field, a base hit for Castillo. Pagan will have to stop at second. So back-to-back one-out singles, and David Wright comes up with 2 men on.
Well, you can see that grip on the more white you see there, the more apt it is to be a fastball, and that's what it was. But it was middle there for Castillo, who didn't get it on the fat part of the bat, got really off the end of the bat, and it deadened it as it made its way to right field. And Elijah Dukes, sorry.
Well, ball's down, but too much plate, and that's Mock's problem. As Urani mentioned at the opening of the show, on the game today, or actually our broadcast, that he walks too many, and we're seeing right now that he's not refined with his pitches. And this is the kind of guy you can wait for your pitch. He'll give you a fat one. You get 7 pitches off a guy like Mock, he might go up there and give you 3 pitches, go sit down. Great, because he's got that kind of stuff. But most times you get 7 pitches, you'll get 3 or 4 good ones to hit.
Well, the Mets have 5 hits today off Mock, all 5 by left-hand hitters. And you look at the numbers coming into the year, lefties were hitting .336 against Mock, righties only .286, so that has held to form so far today.
And he has to pitch inside the lefties. Everybody, you know, it's the same old mantra.
He also doesn't have a changeup. We haven't seen a changeup from him yet, so everything is hard. The hard curveball, hard fastball. There we go. We got the first one.
How about that?
Must be listening to me.
And threw it to a right-hand batter.
Yes. Good change up there. You can see the grip, all fingers on the ball. Just like when you're in Little League and your hands aren't big enough. You got to use all your hands, all your fingers. Good pitch there.
2-1 to right, and Burke, working with Mock for the first time, is going to carry it out to the mound.
Here comes Desmond in from short. Might be trying to, one, change the sign, so Desmond wants to know that. And secondly, Burke just trying to get Mock through these innings. The first 3 innings have been very difficult. Runners on base.
It's a guy you can attack, Ronnie, as a hitter. Aggressively, he throws you a good fastball to hit your first pitch. You can jump on it because he might give you a fat one. But a good eye like David, now you're ahead 2-1. He's in trouble. And you got a pitch to hit right here.
You got to think you're going to get a fastball away if you're the hitter. Zone towards that right side.
And the fastball fouled off, 2-2. David was caught looking his first time up on a breaking ball. See if he goes back that way again.
Well, there are the RBI totals for David over the years.
A steep drop off this year, as has been the case with his home run numbers. And yet David's hitting .331 with runners in scoring position. Just not for the extra base power that he has in the past. Mock's got this one, gets the out at second. Desmond can't make the relay, so they cannot turn the double play. The second out, recorded 1-6 on Castillo. Runners at the corners with 2 out for Beltran.
There's the grip on the fastball here to David Wright. Jams him a little as this ball runs in.
Big time.
And gets it to Mock. It takes a long time to get rid of this baseball, but we've seen now Desmond 3 different times not get the grip on the baseball. Even that fantastic play he made against Murphy a couple nights ago.
Ball that he then threw away to prolong the Mets' comeback attempt on Friday night. Here's Beltran, who grounded out to second base his first trip. First and third and 2 out. And Carlos takes it low for ball 1.
Let me ask you a question here. Wright's on first base, has the ability to steal. That hole is so huge because Dunn doesn't get off the bag at all. A lot of curveballs from Mock. Do you want to leave that open, David, to stay on first?
Yes, I would, because you've also got Beltran who's got pop too. He can hit one down the gap or down the line for a double that would score Wright. Wright certainly got the speed to score on an extra base hit from first.
Gone with excellent speed at third.
I want Beltran swinging the bat here with ducks on the pond.
Agreed.
Up the middle, base hit. And that brings home Pagan with the second Met run. So Carlos Beltran with the RBI single, and it's 2-0 New York.
What a difference having Beltran in the lineup.
Oh, no question. And another fastball, and I bet it's got lots of play. and not inside.
Yeah, got lots of plate, and second division clubs do not execute. When you do not execute, you give extra outs. They had a chance at a double play. They didn't turn it. Allows Beltran to come to the plate, and that's why you end up in last place.
Mock just doesn't have much of a sinker, Ronnie.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough movement, and he's throwing away, doesn't throw in enough.
Now Murphy with 2 out and 2 on. And Daniel hits another one in the gap in right center field. Headed toward the fence, and it short hops the wall. Stays in play, so now White and Beltran will be able to score, and it's 4-0 Mets. So Murphy, who tripled to right center his first time, hits it to the same spot, a double to get 2 runs in to put the Mets up by 4.
Same pitch, down, inner half, Murph all over it. First ball hitting. And eyes on the ball. That's right in Murph's zone. And Mock, I think, he's not going to head for a shower, but he's going to head for certainly a conversation with his pitching coach.
And you know, if you're the pitching coach, Steve McCaddy, who had a nice career in Oakland, I think 63 and 63 lifetime, you got to come out to a young pitcher like this who hasn't had enough time in the minor leagues, and really it becomes caveman baseball, caveman pitching. Get it, throw it hard, but no attention to trying to hit the corners. Just trying to get that ball past Murph and work from there. Pitching, especially against a guy like Murphy who's looking for that first pitch fastball, you got to dipsy doodle occasionally, throw a little curveball, do something out of the ordinary.
He's got nothing to get lefties out with, as far as I'm concerned, as he gets that curveball over.
Yep.
That's got a little break when that ball hit the top railing of the fence and stayed in play. Otherwise, Beltran would have had to stop at third. So Murphy with a double, triple, and 2 RBIs today. Now Frank Cora, who struck out his first time up. Jeff is 5 for 10 in this series. Mets now with 4 runs and 7 hits off Mock. And the breaking ball swung and missed. So a couple of 2-out hits after the Nationals couldn't turn a double play. And the Mets taking full advantage with 3 runs in the inning.
Just this inning, you can see 24 pitches, 48 total for Mock. Not through the third yet.
4 base hits. Not a cheap one.
Two and one now to Frank Cora. Jay Feely just kicked a field goal for the Jets. 6 minutes to go in the second. Pat 6, Jets 3.
It's an under.
Thomas Jones had a huge drive, ripping off huge chunks of yards.
Chunks. You know, but to get back to the little things that you can do. The first run scored off Mock because he was not able to field a simple ball hit back to him. Right? Desmond made the wrong choice as Marco Estrada gets up. And then here, not being able to turn a double play. When you're a pitcher in the major leagues, you got to hold runners. You got to take your at-bats, and you got to field your position, as well as pitch.
Popped up on the right side. Gonzalez shading his eyes. And stays with it to end the inning. But the Mets put up a 3-spot. 2-out hits by Beltran, and then the big one from Murphy, who tripled his first time, rips a double to the same spot to get 2 in and give the Mets a 4-0 lead after 3 at Citi Field. America runs on Duncan. Here's your chance to win 2 tickets to a game at Citi Field presented by McDonald's and the new McCafe coffees made with fresh ground espresso. Call 1-866-414-2911. And if you're the 11th caller, you'll be loving it at Citi Field. Ian Desmond leads off the 4th inning against John Maine, who has not allowed a hit over the first 3 innings. Just as Tim Redding didn't allow a hit over the first 3 yesterday.
Well, this is where you play games with yourself as a starting pitcher. You're saying, I got to get this first guy out. My teammates have given me 4 runs now, 3 in that last inning. They want to get back in there and hit against Mr. Mock. If I throw up a 0, that's how you perpetuate good feelings and the game moves along.
Maine is on an 80 pitch count today at a mere 45 here in the 4th. Desmond flying to center his first time up. And he takes a strike, 2-1.
Your assessment of Maine thus far?
He's thrown a lot more free and easy than he did the last game. Of course, the speed is not where you would want it to be, but he's not fighting himself like he did the entire month of May. There's a purpose, it seems, with every pitch. He's really zoned in on that outside corner. There's a couple he missed, even the one walk he had to Burke. That ball was very close. So he really is doing a nice job of mixing up his pitches.
He's kept the ball down today. And you know, John likes to throw that fastball upstairs and get hurt up. But he's been on the knees a lot. That's the one thing I've noticed.
He can't throw 90 and be upstairs. He's got to be downstairs if he's going to throw 90.
Well, that's what made John so attractive when the Mets first got him, is that he would throw 93, 94 up, and he'd have that little jet motion on it to strike people out.
Well, when you had Glavine and Martinez, et cetera, you had very few pitchers who had a swing and miss, and Maine was the only guy.
See, we got some fans downstairs right below Al with Dykstra and Gooden uniforms on. Right in the front row, right in front of us. There they are. How about that? It's a pretty good duet. Just thought I'd give Al some work. You know, Al just points the camera down the field. That's all he does.
Desmond pops one into shallow center. And Beltran looking through the sunglasses. One away. So Desmond's been up twice, flied out to Beltran both times. 1 out in the 4th for Ryan Zimmerman, who bounced to short his first trip. The Braves and the Phillies have gone to the 3rd. Atlanta leading 1-0. They've got Tommy Hanson against Cliff Lee in that game. The Braves have won 8 out of 9. Great pitching from Javi Vasquez last night. What a year he's having.
14-9 now with all those punch outs too.
2.91. I mean, he's probably not in the Cy Young discussion, but he has had an extraordinary year. 7 shutout innings last night for Vasquez.
He's always been a guy that has great numbers and will lose you, win you over a dozen games, but lose you close to a dozen games.
You could tell going all the way back to the World Baseball Classic when Vasquez was pitching for Puerto Rico that he was a little different guy this year.
Well, I think he took into the offseason lots of criticism about Vasquez in the playoffs and the way his pitch coming down the stretch from his manager last year in Chicago, and I think that he took that to heart and wanted to come back and be ready to go, and boy, he's been fantastic, like you said.
Swing and a miss. Big cut by Zimmerman, 1-2. Well, the Braves are still in it, 4.5 games behind Colorado.
Running out of time, though. 14 left. It's getting a little difficult.
One-two from Maine. Popped up in foul ground. Murphy over, and he's got room. 2 out.
There was an article, Ronnie, in Atlanta when we were there about Vasquez, and he was just, his quotes were how much he wanted to stay before the free agent. He wanted to stay in Atlanta, how much he liked Atlanta and wants to come back.
Braves have decisions to make about their starting pitching going into the offseason. They've got obviously the young pitchers, Jurgens and Hanson, who will form, the core of that rotation going forward. But are they going to bring back Tim Hudson?
Yeah, he's pitched well. Kawakami's in that mix.
Of course, Derek Lowe signed for 3 more years.
The funny thing is, because of the salaries today, if you had a group of pitchers like that in the old days, you'd keep them.
Yeah.
You would be holding on to them. You go, my God, I got a great pitching staff.
Well, the Braves and the Giants have been the 2 teams that have had the best starting pitching all year, and yet neither one of them might be in the postseason. Giants got dreadful pitching from Brad Penny yesterday as he got thrashed by the Dodgers. But they've got Lincecum going today. Pagan under Dunn's fly ball. Side retired. 4 hitless innings for John Maine. Second start back from the DL, and it's all going right for Maine today. By Hyundai. Now Hyundai Assurance can even lower your price at the pump. Go to Hyundai.com to find out how. Beautiful look at Central Park on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in New York. You can only imagine how many people are hanging out in the park today.
Beautiful day for it. A stroll. I love the boathouse. They have a wonderful restaurant in the boathouse. You can go have lunch right on the pond there. Beautiful setting.
People who run the boathouse now are going to run Tavern on the Green when it reopens.
You ever take a rowboat out on the lake there?
Yes, I have.
Just a lovely thing. Josh Tolley drove in the first Met run today with what was scored an infield hit. Banked one off the pitcher. Desmond decided to throw home. Too late to get Murphy. And that's how the Mets got their first run today. Tolley bounces one on the right side for Gonzalez to handle. 1 out. So 1 down in the bottom of the 4th, and now Wilson Valdez. Valdez grounded into a double play his first time up. What's that, 3 in this series now?
Yes. 2 yesterday, right?
Actually 4 if you count the fly ball double play. He hit the ball that Beltran was out at the plate on Friday night.
He hit 2 yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Both were bullets.
1 yesterday and then another one Friday. Yeah, so 4 double plays and 7 at bats in the series. That's hard to do.
Drive you to drink.
If you were, so inclined.
Yes.
1-1 to Valdez.
Sorry. Sorry, Ron. I didn't mean to bump you there.
Plenty of room. 1-2 to Valdez. It's nice to see on a Sunday afternoon that a guy can just relax.
You got your vest with you today. Very nice.
But it's too warm to wear it. I thought it would be
done.
Much too warm. It's a very relaxing pose that I have here. I like this.
I think that's why, our director Bill Webb decided to discover you in that pose.
Yeah, it's just I like day games, and this time of year particularly. Beautiful weather, relax.
I did that at the old Shea one afternoon when we had Ralph in the booth. And so we decided that we were all going to get on the seat the opposite way, remember? And poor Ralph, I forgot that, Ralph was of advanced age. He got on there. We had a little trouble getting him off of that position.
Valdez tries to hold and stop the swing in time, 3-2.
So, Keith, when you talk about this, you always mention they're more aggressive in calling that a strike now or a swing.
The check swing?
Yeah.
It's almost automatic.
Yeah.
And we've seen it happening now for more than a few years where you get rung up. And
well, that's the one that got this umpiring crew in trouble, that they didn't call the check swing in Boston on Nick Green.
That's right. And then the 3-2 pitch was a fastball down that Fuentes thought was a strike. The whole Angel dugout thought was a strike. The only person who didn't think it was a strike was Mr. Reed behind the plate today.
Did any of us in the booth here see the replay of it on our SNY morning news?
I did see the replay of it, and if you put the kind of pitch tracks box in there, it looked like it hit the bottom of the strike zone. But
on the check swing, again, when you consider how aggressively they call them now, it looked like a swing.
It looked like a swing?
Yeah. Nick Green gave it away that he thought it was a swing, too.
Valdez, after a mighty effort, works out a walk. A 9-pitch marathon. First walk given up by Mott today.
So, the other bench was saying the Boston bench was saying, quit begging.
But you know how, yeah, exactly. You know how sometimes you check swing, but you put your head down because they're going to punch you out? Well, that's how Green was. Well, he did get punched out.
So the comment from Sochi after the game, he said, what was the count on Green? 3 and 4?
Right.
That's right.
Maine up there to bunt and trying to get out of the way. That ball stays foul. 0-1.
Well, see, John, he's really upright. If he could bend a little more, it would make it a little easier. And if those fingers, you can get them behind the bat, it makes it less so. One of the best things that Buddy Harrelson ever taught me is that when you are trying to bunt as a pitcher, get that bat right at the top of the strike zone. So if the ball's above it, when it comes out of the pitcher's hand, you can take it. It's very easy.
Buddy had all those nice little tips, hints.
Didn't he tell you with a runner at second that you want to point the bat at the second baseman?
The head of the bat, you point at the second baseman. If you do that, it's the perfect angle that hit the ball to third base or bunt the ball to third base. He was just great. Great instructor.
Buddy was, when I got older, Gare, and I lost a little bit of my range, I got the pulled hamstring, and Buddy came out on his own one day in Shea, taking ground balls, and I used to always have my glove in front of me facing the pitcher on the ground, preparing to, when the pitcher released the ball. Buddy said, maybe you don't want to do that. It happened with me when I played.
As Maine bunts the third strike foul.
But he said maybe you want to be more with your glove, not so much on the ground, because you maybe lost that step, maybe help you get a better break left and right. And it made sense to me, but that's how it was. Here I am, I'm a 10-time Gold Glover, and a pretty good fielding shortstop, and Mr. Harrelson, Gold Glover himself, and Buddy came right over, and there was, you listened, like Hutton, you always can believe that you can absorb. I mean, Buddy's an infielder. He does the same thing I do out there. Whether you're a third baseman, second baseman, shortstop, or first baseman, your approach when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand is the same. You want to be able to get the quickest jump that you can and a ball hit to your left or right. And I incorporated that into my game, and I changed a little bit, and it made sense. But then I broke my kneecap, and my career was over.
So you had your glove a little off the ground then?
Yes, not so much. And I really got down low too. Well, I got a little higher.
And you know what that does too? As an older player, it takes some of the strain off your back and hamstring if you stand up a little quieter.
1-1 to Pagan, who has 2 hits today, a double and a single, and he scored a run.
I mean, to equate it, when I used to watch, you used to get off the base almost like a football center, get that low, with your hands way out in front of you.
Don't slurp your coffee.
I'm sorry.
use your cough button. I apologize.
You're complaining about someone making eating sounds? Come on.
No, because he doesn't want anyone to think it was him. Just make sure he can.
It's all right. He hasn't gotten to the ice cream yet. He got here late today.
I already have my ice cream.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm done.
It's very quick.
Very stealth today.
1-1 to Pagan. And a pitch out, but Valdez, who's not a base stealer, not going anywhere. That's an interesting call by Jim Riggleman.
Well, with 2 outs, and if he gets thrown out, then Pagan leads off the next inning. A lot of times, I think Ronnie would be the first one to tell you. You always got to be aware of that as a pitcher, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. And especially with 2 strikes. If you get a hitter to 2 strikes, a lot of times it's almost automatic that he'll run, try to force the play.
Yeah, they're very much aware of that potential stolen base. And you got if he steals it, then you got a red hot Pagan. Might drive him in.
Angel taking a long look down at Razor Shines, as does Wilson Valdez, to make sure what's on here. There goes Valdez. Breaking ball down. Burke's throw on the money. Got him. Sign retired. Jamie Burke, his first throw as a Washington National. Perfect. 2-6 on the caught stealing to end the inning. There's a 37-year-old veteran making a good play. Ticket contest. Congratulations to Vincent from Wildwood. You'll be loving it here at Citi Field. Congratulations. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, I had a conversation with Jeff Francoeur the other day, and I tried to get a sense of what his offseason like, and that is comparing football to everything else. Unfortunately for his wife, football wins 5-2, and the explanation is this. Obviously, we know he's a huge college guy, and he literally reeled off the entire schedule for me yesterday for college off the top of his head. But I said, how does it work for you in the offseason? How do you split your time? I know you like to watch. He says, well, Saturday all day. Sunday, we'll go to church, come home, then it's fantasy, it's the NFL, so that's pretty much out. Monday night's trouble. And then my wife really gets mad when it's Thursday night football. And here's what got me. He said, don't forget on Friday, you've got the WAC game. So Jeff's going home watching Fresno State on Friday night. So how does that divvy up, Jeff? He said, well, my wife gets Tuesday and Wednesday. I think it's a pretty fair deal.
Now, is he going out and watching his high school team on Friday night down in Atlanta?
I think that's mixed in as well, as Willingham will punch one in the outfield. Shocker, another hit for Josh Willingham against the Mets. But yeah, it's a pretty big part of his life, but he'll mix in the surgery somewhere in the offseason as well, guys.
So Willingham with the first hit of the afternoon for the Nationals against John Maine, who held him hitless for the first 4.
Kevin, sounds like Francoeur's got to get that surgery on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Exactly, Ronnie. Exactly.
By the way, we welcome in everybody who's checking us out. Halftime of the Jets-Pats game. Hi. Mets lead the Nationals 4-0. Pats are up 9-3 on the Jets at the half. Elijah Dukes hit one off Maine's glove for a ground out his first time up, and he pops the first offering up. Castillo was checking to see whether Dukes was running. He wasn't, but the ball caused Castillo to backpedal enough that he decided not to let it drop, which he certainly could have. Because Dukes only ran halfway to first base before he stopped.
That's why, I mean, on that ball, you don't have to sprint to first, but you want to run down there to first base.
You got to go touch the bag.
Touch the bag, exactly.
If that ball had been in front of Castillo, if he had lined up, he would have let that drop.
And in day game with the sun and the wind, you know, next thing you know, you got 2 on and something happened.
But Louis always checking that out.
Yes, he is.
On every pop-up. He's cute that way.
Dukes would have been very embarrassed.
He would have put up his Dukes, I'll tell you.
You gotta know your runners too, right?
Yes.
Who has a tendency maybe to lollygag a little bit. 1-1 to Alberto Gonzalez, who grounded out his first time up.
You know, it can happen to anyone. I remember a game at Shea where Gary Carter, who always ran out every ball, he got jammed and the ball went straight up in the air, and of course the pitcher dropped it, never ran, and was able to get him out at first base. But it happens. If you play long enough, there's going to be one of those times that you get embarrassed out there.
That happened to Fernando Martinez this year in his second big league game.
That's right. That's right.
Reyes a couple years ago in Houston. It wasn't a pop-up.
Right. Got pulled out of the game by Willie Randolph. Fell back 1-2 to Gonzalez.
Gonzalez is a guy that was playing last year when A-Rod was hurt. He filled in for the Yankees in the beginning of the year, and then played a little late in the season for Washington. Has been a favorite of both Maniacta and Riggleman as an extra infielder.
All of a sudden, John, this inning starting to get up in the strike zone. Wonder if he's getting a little tired.
And we've seen it all season long, and maybe it's because of pitch counts or whatever. 5th inning for starting pitchers with a lead has become somewhat of a problem as they try to get to the finish line.
Toby Stoner starting to loosen himself up a little bit. He was the piggyback guy for Maine in his first start in Philadelphia. Probably will fill the same role today. But, you know, if John can get through this inning quickly, maybe it won't be until after the 6th that he'll have to piggyback.
How about a ground ball?
That's what he needs here. Instead, it's 3-2 to Gonzalez with the number 8 hitter Burke on deck. Runner goes, grounded slowly and foul. Keith, because I know you care. Atlanta 14, Carolina 13.
Good.
Late second quarter.
I thought you liked Carolina.
I do.
Oh.
I see. I understand.
I get it. Sorry.
There's a nice hook in there somewhere.
Willingham was running on the first 3-2. He goes again, and it's hit right back behind Castillo. And the Nats will have runners on first and third. Castillo going to cover the bag, and Gonzalez hit it right behind him.
Well, this is a textbook hit and run. Watch Castillo. He will break to cover the bag, and look what happens. He vacates. Boom. That's what a hit and run's all about, even though that was a 3-2 count. I'm sure it wasn't a hit and run, but it has the same effect. You got a team 4 runs down. Riggleman rolled the dice there.
And you can only roll the dice because Gonzalez is a contact type of hitter.
Keith, on a 3-2 count, is your middle infielder releasing later than he would?
Absolutely. Release later. But still, you're in a double play situation. With 2 outs, you really vacate late. But, you know, no fault of Louis there. Your reaction is to cover the bag. Could be a swing and a miss. Strike him out, throw him out.
Jamie Burke went around on the swing. Jeff Kellogg with the call, 0-1. Burke drew a walk his first time up.
Good slider here from John.
Yes, sir. good down tilt.
Keith, because I know you care. Atlanta 21, Carolina 13.
Oh boy, that's all right. Long way to go.
You're a very optimistic sort.
It's a long way to go.
He was the same.
Half there yet or no?
By the way, he's the same guy in Atlanta that kept saying we're going to start those games on time too.
The ones with the 2-hour radio left. Elmer descends up in the Mets bullpen. 0-2 to Burke. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. First strikeout of the afternoon for John Maine, and it comes in a good spot. Pinning Willingham at third. 2 out.
It's not always how many you get, but when you get them. Big time there for John, and went up in the strike zone. That's more vintage John Maine as he takes that grip with the four-seamer and rides that fastball in and past Mr. Burke.
Garrett Mock's going to hit here. Jim Riggleman not opting for a pinch hitter here in the fifth.
Mock's thrown just 69 pitches through 4 innings, so he'll get some more work. He sacrificed his first time up. He has 2 hits this year, and looking for his first major league run batted in.
This is a team in last place. Has a lot of decisions to make in the offseason. One of them is if Mr. Mock is going to be part of the rotation. Only way he can do that is leave them in the ball game despite being down 4 runs.
Slow ground ball. Castillo with plenty of time. And the side retires. So Maine works around the first 2 hits he's given up today. Halfway through at Citi Field, the Mets leading at 4-0. Of Mets baseball left to catch here on Picks. Next Sunday, join us as the Mets swing down to Florida for a battle with the Marlins. The Mets take on the Marlins Sunday at 1 on Picks.
What is there? What, 13 after today or 12?
12 after today.
I got that one next Sunday, Keith. So you relax down in Florida at your pad.
John Maine, 75 pitches in 5 innings, 5 shutout innings, and it looks like he is done for the day.
It's interesting, Jerry Manuel just sitting there listening to John. You know, when you're starting pitching or out there pitching, you got a lot to say because that adrenaline is pumping. As Elmer descends, I believe, is still throwing. Let's see if I got it right.
Yeah, it's Elmer.
Good.
Well, John Maine, over the last 4 years, since he joined the Mets, despite missing half the season last year, has more wins than any Met pitcher. 36 and perhaps 37 after today. Second on the list, tied. Guy's only been here for a couple of years. Johan Santana and Oliver Perez, each with 29. Pagan first pitch swinging, grounds out to start at the bottom of the 5th.
Well, they finally got Pagan out, 2 for 2 coming into that at bat. Double on the base hit. Luis Castillo 1 for 1. All the left-hand hitters have been peppering Mock. Oh, nice shades.
Her future is quite bright. Castillo is sacrificed and single to right. Louis 4 for 10 in this series, hitting a .307 on the year. And that would be quite a feat for Louis to finish the year above 300. There's Maine's line for the day. Quite a performance in his second start back from the DL. So now he's given up just 1 run in 8 innings in 2 starts.
It's been a disappointing year for John. Frustrating year for him.
I think, though, this month is really for him to prove to himself, no one else, that he's healthy and that he can pitch through those lesions and be ready to go. And when you look at this Mets starting staff coming into the season, you got to book Santana for 15 plus. He would have made it if he didn't have the operation. Got to book Pelfrey for 12 plus lots of innings. Maine for 12 plus, Perez for 12 plus, don't you? I mean, that's how you look at it. I think in the offseason. That hasn't come to pass.
And Jerry Manuel was asked today, well, given that it hasn't come to pass, could you live with the same 4 next year? And he said, well, competition would be a good thing. Hit toward the hole, and Castillo's got another hit. So a 2-hit game for Luis Castillo, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Christmas is coming soon.
Now that's a little early. I mean, I know it's getting earlier every year, but that's a little early.
You got to get through Halloween first.
Yeah.
Oh, wishful thinking.
How about Thanksgiving?
1 out and 1 on for David Wright. Well, the right-hand hitters in the lineup do not have a hit yet against Garrett Mock. The Mets have 8 hits, all by left-handed bats today. David is 0 for 2, struck out, hit into a fielder's choice. Castillo runs. Burke's throw on a hop, hits the runner, bounces toward third, and Castillo, who got nicked by that ball,
I think it hit him in the
second.
neck.
Got him in the head, side of the ear, maybe. Oh, goodness. That
Right
got
in
his
the ear.
shoulder and then came up in the neck.
Yep.
It's a carom.
With the clavicle, huh?
Oh, boy. That hurts.
Looks like CC Sabathia yesterday getting hit by a line drive in the chest. This one right off the collarbone. So Michael Herbst, the assistant trainer, out for a look. Castillo gets a stolen base, his 17th of the year.
Well, Sabathia now with 18 wins. Does that put him back in the Cy Young race?
It's got to be in the conversation.
Yep.
But it's hard to look past Zach Greinke.
Yeah, there you go. He's got 14 with the last place team.
How many more starts? Will you, 3?
I think Sabathia might only have 2 because he has got to get ready for the first game of the playoffs.
So Castillo, okay. Louis been able to survive all year. One of the few that's been able to remain erect all season. He had that one little stumble down the dugout steps that cost him a few days. Well, his teammates appreciate the fact that he has stayed out there all year long. Look at that.
That's great.
He's been the Iron Man. I mean, think about it. Who else on this team has been around all year long? Him and Frankie Rodriguez, right?
Yep.
Who else?
Well, the everyday players, it's just Louis.
Yeah.
Usually when the Mets trainers have gone out, they usually bring someone back with them.
Well, things have gotten better. You've gotten David Wright back onto the field, John Maine back onto the field, Carlos Beltran back onto the field. Just too little too late.
Murphy hasn't been hurt this year.
That's true. Give Murph credit. Francoeur hasn't been hurt, but He has been here all year.
He is hurt, but he's not hurt.
Right.
Santos, every time he's been asked to play.
And don't forget about perpetual Pedro Feliciano.
No,
he's an everyday player.
He is.
What's he need? 5 more appearances, Pedro, for the tie his own record?
He's got 81. He was in 86 last year. I'm sure we'll see him sometime today. Swinging 3-0, right to straightaway center. Castillo tagging. Harris makes the grab, and Castillo goes to third. So David swinging on 3-0 and hits it about 390 feet.
Gary, do we get any good news in that Jet game?
Yes, that would be Mark Sanchez to Dustin Keller, 9-yard touchdown pass. Jets 10, Pats 9.
Oh, Ronnie. I think Mr. Sanchez is going to be okay.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, he seems to have something special.
Threw a 45-yarder to Jericho Cotchery to set up that touchdown.
I like the fact that the first week, last week in Houston, he made a lot of clutch third down passes to keep a lot of drives going.
He also took some hits and got up. It's a good sign, too. Carlos Beltran singled up the middle to drive in a run in the third inning. And he pops this one up in foul ground. Zimmerman over near the stands, runs out of room.
Be some shadows in play later today. Look at the defense on the right side. See where Gonzalez, second baseman, was playing? Remember Desmond when he played Beltran? He's playing way in the hole. Now they've shifted and changed. Gonzalez playing up the middle.
Well, Beltran hit one up the middle his last time up as well. And that's been, I mean, going all the way back to spring training, that's been a big key to Carlos's season, is that he's used left center and the middle of the diamond to produce a lot of his hits. Little dribbler down to Zimmerman. Makes the sweeping stop and throws out Beltran to end the inning. A hit and one left. 5 in the books now at Citi Field. The Mets with a 4-0 lead over the Nats. Elmer descends, takes over for John Maine as we go to the 6th inning.
It's amazing how excited those adults get when they're smarter than a 5th grader, isn't it? Elmer descends in the game. It's 26 game. Elmer's done a nice job for the Mets this season. 22 hits in those 29 innings pitched. only 9 walks, facing Mr. Harris, the leadoff hitter.
John Maine, 75 pitches in 5 shutout innings, allowed just 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout, and in line for his 6th win of the year. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
And in that time, Gary, it certainly looked like he and Josh Tully were comfortable together, didn't it? You know, in coming off of yesterday's game, I thought it was big for Josh Tully catching Tim Redding, because he caught Redding 2 starts ago for the first time as Harris spurs the bunt and it goes foul. And they were not on the same page at all. The game was long. They could not establish any type of rhythm. Yesterday, Redding had a great pace, and I talked to Josh about it, and he said, you know, I caught him in the bullpen, but I really thought I knew what he wanted to do, but I really had no idea. He pitches a lot differently than anyone else I've caught. He likes to use his breaking ball a lot behind the count, and I just wasn't used to that. The other thing is, I had no idea that he didn't shake off. He just stares at you, and when he did that, I would just kind of rush through the signs a little bit quicker, not really realizing. So it was an experience for me, because some guys I really click with, but with Tim, we had to work at it. So they talked, and then also Josh said watching Brian Snyder then catch Redding start at Philadelphia really helped him, because he watched the situation, watched what pitches Snyder would call, things like that. And yesterday they worked great together. Looks like he had that same rap with Maine today, guys.
Now, that whole idea about a guy like Redding who wants to throw breaking balls behind on the count, isn't that one of the main differences between catching at the big league level and the minor league level?
Yeah, absolutely. The guys in the minor league level can't wait to throw that fastball when it's 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1. And the guys on this level, when they're ahead in the count, want to surprise the hitters with fastballs. So that's the main difference. What you can do is what Redding did. One of the things you can do when you have a young catcher is that after a hitter fouls one off and you want to throw a fastball, I used to tell young catchers, if I catch your eye in between pitches, Harris hits another one in the air.
David Wright and Wilson Valdez, and it drops. And it should have been Valdez's ball, but Wright kept calling, and Valdez gave way to him. And neither one caught it.
Well, was Valdez calling?
No, I don't think he was. I think David was calling.
I think David would have backed off. When David starts backpedaling like that, you're not going to make that play.
I mean, that's one where Valdez has to take charge.
That's Valdez's play. He's got to be yelling and screaming and go get it and take charge of that.
Yep.
And that's a hard play for David. You know, he's backing up, getting near the stands, doesn't know where he is. The shortstop, much better angle.
No error charged on the play. So a life for Harris, who hits another ball in the air. Valdez gives way to Pagan, and Pagan makes the play, 1 away.
I make a strong suggestion for Mr. Willie Harris right there to get in BP and hit ground balls. Get one fly ball in BP, it's a fine. Geez, it's a big out up in the air. I'm sorry. You can beat your head against a wall all you want, because you're only going to hurt yourself. He's got a big color in this series.
Well, he's hit 7 home runs this year. I guess he's looking for more. Ian Desmond twice his fly to center, and he takes a strike.
Hey, Ronnie, one more thing I want to get your opinion on being a young catcher, you know, with Tully. And you know, obviously, as a young catcher, you're not going to have the wherewithal, even if you're not on the same page, to kind of say, just go with me, I would imagine.
Murphy with a beautiful backhand play. 2 out.
Well, nice play by Murph. Nice backhand. And running back towards the pitcher with the underhand toss. Close the gap. Nicely done.
Well, Kevin, one thing I used to do with young catchers when we hadn't worked before, I used to tell them that in between pitches, if a guy fouled the pitch back, they always step out and re-grip. And I used to say, pick up my eyes. If I'm staring at you, that means I want to go with the fastball. You can call it either side of the plate, but it hastens the tempo of the catcher. So those are the little things you can do with a young catcher to get him to move a little quicker, because now he knows you want a fastball and he doesn't have to go through the other signs.
Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 2, grounded out and fouled out. And the curveball ripped to left, but Pagan moves over. Side retired. 1-2-3 inning for Elmer descends in relief. To the bottom of the 6th we go, and the Mets still up by 4. Beautiful day at Citi Field, and a trip to Shake Shack will get you the world's best shake and burger.
I had one of those right before the break, Keith. It was unbelievable.
Remember the old soda shops?
Yeah.
They used to serve it to you in those containers,
That's
those
right.
metal containers.
Because the cup wouldn't carry it all.
Oh, and it would just stay cold in that metal container.
You get some chunk of vanilla ice cream down there at the bottom.
You guys are making me incredibly hungry.
Well, there's the Acela Club. And that is some fine dining up there, too. Nice wine selections.
Been a big day for Daniel Murphy already. Triple to right center and scored in the second. Double to right center to drive in 2 in the third. Made a fine play in the field in the last half inning. And now Garrett Mock ahead of him 0-2.
Mock starting a little bit. Horse is already out of the barn, Ronnie, but he's starting a little more changeups.
He needs to throw more of those. He's got to be a pitcher that throws 10 to 15 of those. 84 of his pitches so far. Great strike to ball ratio, maybe too many strikes.
Well, he's a pitcher who's walked too many this year, so obviously concentrating on throwing some more strikes.
He's juggling that fine line of not walking people, but also not grooving too many first pitches.
2-2 to Murphy with Frank Core and Tolley to follow here in the home 6th.
Doesn't pitch inside enough. Just loves that outside corner to lefties. And that's maybe why he's getting blistered this year by lefties.
Well, the Mets have 8 hits today, and they've all been from the left-handers.
What's Murph got his average up to now?
2 hits today.
265. How about that?
And he now has 49 extra base hits, which, just for reference, is 2 more than David Wright.
Well, he's a line drive hitter, and this is a nice park for extra base hits.
2-2, curveball fouled off.
Let me ask you a question, Keith, because there's all standards. If you have under a 3 ERA, you had a fine year. There's so big a difference between something in the 270s than the 260s, isn't it?
260 is mediocre.
Yeah. So anything over 270.
270 is a better number.
That's a better ring to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
Murphy pops it up. Desmond trailing out. Willingham will let him take it. And that's the first out of the inning. So Murphy retired for the first time today.
Thought Murph had a chance for a little cycle.
Yes.
He needed the home run and the single. He got the tough one out of the way. For Murph, anybody, the home run's a tough one too. But the triple's always the hardest if you're going to hit a cycle.
Certainly the rarest.
I know you had one. Did you have? How many cycles did you have? Just one, or more than that?
I don't think I had a cycle in St. Louis.
No.
There's Frank Core. And he hits a slow ground ball. Desmond hurries in and double clutches and still got him at first base. Boy, Desmond again having trouble getting the ball out of his glove.
He's got an unusually large glove for a shortstop. Maybe that's the problem.
Did the Jets go in the end zone, Gary?
Mark Sanchez to Chancey Stuckey, 6 yards for the touchdown. Play was challenged, but upheld.
Didn't he throw a touchdown to Stuckey last game? Didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It's going to make that 17-9.
They make the extra point.
All young quarterbacks have a favorite receiver. Just the guy that they're in tune with.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Josh Tolley, who had an infield hit to drive in a run in the second. Boy, that must be going crazy at the Meadowlands.
Oh, boy.
80,000 lunatics dressed in green.
Well, the Jet defense has really been nice this year. Nice job the first 2 games. They shut down Houston's running game last week. They kept New England out of the end zone so far.
It's a day when those knuckleheads who don't have their shirts on that spell the names out. It's not too bad today. They do it in the dead of winter.
Beautiful day. 2-1 to Tolley. Just so you know, I was never one of those guys.
Well, that makes me feel much better.
I mean, I make a lot of noise at Jets games, but I dress warmly.
Do you follow that guy in the hard hat that goes Jets?
That's a long story.
Okay. We got one more road trip.
3-1 to Tolley. And Mock walks Tolley, his second walk of the afternoon, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner. Brian Stokes up in the Mets bullpen. So now Wilson Valdez, who hit into a double play and then walked, so he's 0 for 1.
Well, Philadelphia is going to put a harpoon in Atlanta right here. They're up 4-1 in the 5th.
Lee pitching.
Zach Segovia up in the Washington bullpen.
And no relation to Andres.
No, I don't think he's quite
Very good.
Quite the guitarist. Well, the Phillies having a lot more success today against Tommy Hanson than the Mets did in his last start. 4-1 Phillies in the 5th.
And Florida's losing 5-0 in the 6th.
That's Kip Wells making the start for the Reds today.
Wow.
The Marlins only have 2 hits in the first 6 innings of that game, down 5-0 going to the 7th.
And that'll hurt them too. Colorado's in the driver's seat. I don't see anybody.
Well, the Rockies have to face Danny Herron this afternoon.
Yeah.
So that's a little tough in Arizona.
And what kind of a lead do they have over the Giants?
3.5. Giants have Lincecum going against the Dodgers today. They just waved off the Jets' touchdown. So it's still 10-9.
Oh, conspiracy.
Here's Wilson Valdez, and he pops one up into shallow right center. Long run in for Dukes, but he's there to grab it, and the inning is over. A walk and 1 left. 6 in the books now at Citi Field. Mets have got great pitching today. They lead 4-0. Invigorate. Mets got a run in the second, 3 in the third in support of John Maine, who went 5 scoreless in his second start back from the disabled list. Elmer descends added a 1-2-3 6th, and he'll stay out there for the 7th. Jets kick the field goal and lead 13-9 over the Pats. 8:22 to go in the third.
So, folks, Gary gave you misinformation.
No, I didn't.
Had you all excited?
I told you they scored the touchdown. They were reviewing it. And they overturned it.
Got them all excited.
Dunn is 0 for 2.
Cruel.
And he takes ball 1. Hey, if anybody's going to get excited and hear about the Jets scoring, it's going to be me.
That's right. That's right.
By the way, it's the 7th inning, and Chris Matchkowski still has not shown up to sing Roar, Lion, Roar.
I think he's not going to come.
Can we get a shot at Chris over there. Maybe we can get his attention.
Now, I got Howie Rose and Wayne Hagan on the case today. They said they were going to make sure Matt showed up. And Sean Green up in the Mets bullpen.
I'll let him use my headset.
Oh, we'll find a microphone for him. That's no problem.
Okay, good.
Howie.
Howie's bummed about that Jet touchdown getting overturned.
That's right.
Howie's on radio. He's supposed to be talking.
Well, maybe it's Wayne's
It's
inning.
Wayne's
it's
inning.
Seventh. Wayne does the seventh.
Oh, is he sleeping?
No, he's looking down.
This has actually been a pretty entertaining game. 2-1 to Dunn, and he lifts one foul. 2-2. See, Wayne's doing the talking. There's John Schweibacher in the background. Bet you always wondered what John Schweibacher
What does
looks
John
like.
exactly do?
We're not quite sure. He's writing something down.
And where's Madge?
Madge is in the back.
Madge is usually over here.
There he is.
He's like the Wizard of Oz. He's pushing all the buttons and pulling all the handles.
He's hiding. He's hiding so we can't find him.
Yeah, I see him right there. He's got to sing Columbia. Come on, Madge.
Dunn lifts one to left, and Pagan has it lined up. One away. So DeSenz has faced 4 and retired them all. One out of the 7th. Now Josh Willingham, who had the first hit for the Nationals today, a leadoff single in the 5th against John Maine. Alberto Gonzalez had a hit and run single later in that inning, but that's been it for the Nats.
You know, Albert DeSenz has done a heck of a job with this Met ball club out of the bullpen. Guy that's bounced around, a veteran, journeyman.
Well, he's one of those guys you like to have in your bullpen because he can throw every day. I mean, by every day, he can go out and throw 2 innings, and the next day, throw 2 innings again. Now, when I think of Josh Willingham, I don't know about you, Keith, I think of a pull hitter, right? Power hitter, pull hitter.
Yes.
But the outfield defense is just, you know, they're playing a lot of these hitters just bunching that right center field corner.
Well, Pagan's way over.
Way over.
I mean, if you're going to play the outfield defense this way, yes, we see bring him over into that gap.
Yep.
We see a lot of guys playing the center fielder and right fielder there, and then leaving a huge gap in left field by playing straight up with the outfielder, left fielder.
Popped up. Another chance for Castillo. And there are 2 out. So 5 up and 5 down for Elmer DeSenz. Willingham unwilling to release his bat. Took it with him all the way to first base.
David Johnson used to hate that, by the way.
Really?
Used to scream at you. Never did it, but a couple players carried their bat. He used to scream at him when they came back to the dugout.
So now Elijah Dukes with 2 out and nobody on. Out to left center field. Coming on is Beltran to make the grab. Side retired. 6 up and 6 down for DeSenz. Mets lead 4-0. brought to you by Audi and your local tri-state area Audi dealers. Visit tri-state-area-Audi-dealers.com. Fans up and stretching. Mets with a good effort today, leading 4-0 as we head for the bottom of the 7th on a gorgeous afternoon. And I'll tell you what, I give Met fans an enormous amount of credit in what has been a lost season. They have continued coming out to the ballpark every day. Maybe not every seat filled, but the vast majority are, and it's been very impressive. Crowd giving an extra cheer today because it just showed the Jets score on the board. Jets up 13-9.
It has been. It's been remarkable. They've come here with a smile on their face. Can't wait to celebrate, have fun at the ballpark, and watch their Metsies win, which might be 2 in a row here. They can hold on to this lead.
Corey Sullivan will pinch hit for Elmer Descends, who did a tremendous job in relief with 2 perfect innings. Garrett Mock still out there for the Nats, ready to start the 7th inning. Pepsi Party Patrol just now clearing the field.
Come on, let's go, guys.
That's part of the good time you were talking about.
The good times in a little less time.
So here's Sullivan, who's been struggling a bit at the plate lately. Lance Broadway on your left, Sean Green on your right. Couple of right-handers up in the Mets bullpen. And a check swing on the changeup, and it's 1-1. Off the corner, 2-1. Oh, look who just showed up in our booth.
Make the echoes of the Hudson Valley fight on for victory evermore, while the sons of Knickerbocker rally round Columbia, Columbia. Line.
Shouting
her name forever, roar, lion, roar, for alma mater on the Hudson shore.
Not only did you sing, but you sang with feeling. I'm very, very touched.
See ya.
Chris Matchkowski, everybody, in full throat.
Very nice.
That was very impressive. Keith, you didn't even have to throw a lasso around him to get him in here?
No, I was very persuasive. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Because I have to tell you, you're familiar with Twitter, right?
Yes.
I'm not on Twitter, but I had somebody pass along a Twitter that Match sent out a little bit earlier. It said, I ought to be able to duck GC for another 13 games. Plane and bus might be a problem. I'll have to work on that. But I guess he found his way here. It was very nice. Corey Sullivan strikes out to start the home 7th. Never heard you sing on the air like that.
No, you won't. I don't make those kind of wagers. Oh, Lordy.
Ron Valone, the left-hander. Zach Segovia, the right-hander in the Washington bullpen. I think that's Madge's first audio appearance on our network.
Yes, very nice job.
I didn't know he could sing that well. It's a lovely fight song, by the way, isn't it?
He has that deep baritone, Madge.
Well, you know, not only did Fordham lose yesterday, but Madge witnessed it because he was doing the PA.
Oh, wow.
Jack Coffey Field to, just enhance his experience. So he was a little down in the dumps today when he got here. And when I stood outside his booth when he was setting up his equipment and was whistling Roar Lion Roar, he didn't like that very much. 2-0 to Pagan, who's 2 for 3 on the day.
I mean, you do most of the singing with that bet, don't you?
Yes, I have over the years.
Yes.
Oh, I know the Fordham fight song by heart. Hail, men of Fordham, hail. Yeah, I know the whole thing.
They needed Frankie Frisch, right?
The Fordham Flash.
That's what he needed yesterday. Bring him back.
3-0 from Mott, and there's a strike.
Well, very similar to his last start for Garrett Mock. He gave 5 runs in the first couple of innings to the Phils, then had 4 scoreless. Kind of similar here. 4 runs in the first 3 innings and working on 3+ scoreless.
And Pagan flares one shallow left center. That'll fall for his 3rd hit of the day. So Angel Pagan, who had his 19-game Citi Field hitting streak snapped yesterday, now with 3 hits on this afternoon.
See, he's trying to lean that ball inside the Pagan, but like Keith said, he just has the inability to get that ball in on the hands. Yes, it jammed Pagan, but not enough in to get him to not hit that ball in the outfield.
Every pitcher has one, most every pitcher, the great majority have one side of the plate that they have a nice groove to throw to, and the other side they have difficulty with. Mock, he can throw right-handers in because he likes to throw at an outside corner to left-hander, but he has a problem getting it in to lefties.
Castillo 2 for 2 on the day, 2 singles and a sacrifice. Louis also stolen a base and taken a shot off his collarbone, and he keeps on ticking. Batting average up to .309 on the year. Pagan with 13 stolen bases. Top 2 guys in the order, Pagan and Castillo, have combined to go 5 for 6 today. It's a good formula for success. Slowly hit. Gonzalez with the flip gets the out at second. 2 away.
Not an easy force out there for Gonzalez. Had to negotiate. Pagan here, watch, he comes in and got nicely done. Threw a kind of sidearm to get it around him.
He's a slick fielder, Gonzalez. He can play shortstop, second, or 3rd base.
I mean, that's not a tremendously difficult play, but it's not an easy play.
Bad fielders can make that look very hard, very difficult.
Here's David Wright, who's gone 0 for 3. Mock up to 110 pitches on the afternoon, but trying to finish off the 7th inning.
Wow.
Good strike to ball ratio. We talked about he started the game with the first 9 hitters, 8 first pitch strikes, but a couple of those hurt Murphy later in a first pitch strike. Hit that double that scored 2.
And again, all 9 hits the Mets have today have been by the left-hand hitters, so you can see where Mock's going to have to figure out a little different way.
You see the shadows creeping up down the 3rd base line.
Well, at Shea Stadium, the sun set directly behind home plate, and the shadow went directly out. But the stadium is turned a little bit counterclockwise, and so the sun sets behind 3rd base.
That's a very brilliant job Al's doing right there in that camera work and that shot for you folks.
What did Al pay you today? A quarter for every time you mention his name?
Al's got tuition bills to pay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Al is up here, folks, all the home games with us. He's right below us in the camera, so we get to get friend. There
he is,
and we're just right over here
on his perch.
So we see Al every day.
Al's out there with the fans, you know.
Well, Al,
he loves people.
Plus, Al goes with Bill Webb most of the times on Game of the Week.
Well, Al becomes a fodder for us because our bad sense of humor, he still takes it with a smile.
Al riding on Bill's coattails.
At least you didn't say yours.
Bill still won't let him drive him to Boston.
I'll drive them next time.
There you go. Oh.
Webby won't let me drive. He knows it's probably hazardous to his health.
What camera number are you, Al? And Bill's, your camera number what? You're number 2? I thought for sure you'd be number 1.
Two and 2 to right. And David down swinging to end the inning. So Mock finishes off his stint with his 5th strikeout of the afternoon. 7 in the books now at Citi Field, and the Mets up 4-0. Texas. Kip Wells having a big day for the Reds. Hey, Corky Miller has a home run for Cincinnati. Bad news for the Marlins. Phillies also leading the Braves 4-1. That game is in the bottom of the 5th inning now. They're in a delay in Atlanta. Bottom 2 games you can ignore. Move on to the late games that matter. Ubaldo Jimenez against Dan Herron in Phoenix this afternoon, and Tim Lincecum against Randy Wolf at Dodger Stadium. And the Cardinals' magic number is 4 for clinching the NL Central. They can make it 2 if they beat the Cubs tonight.
Wainwright going for his 19th win. Sean Green in for the Mets. We talked a lot about he's changed his arm angle as he's been much better of late. ERA in the 4th.
Give a Panther score for me.
Give me a moment.
That's huge, you know.
Sorry, I was keeping my eye on the Jets game, you know. The one people care about. Alberto Gonzalez leading off in the 8th inning against Green. He has one of the 2 hits for the Nats today. And a check swing foul ball. Your Panthers are down 21-13 to the Falcons with 1:11 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Okay, so there's been no scoring in the 3rd quarter.
That's correct.
There'll be an explosive 4th you watch.
For
both sides, they're going to score. 3rd quarter is always a lull period for some reason. A lull quarter.
It's been a good quarter for the Jets. They got 10 points in that quarter. We like that quarter.
We need the Jets to get a touchdown. Ice it.
13-9. A minute 16 to go in the 3rd for the Jets.
Ronnie will be singing the blues.
No, I love it.
Valdez circles in front of that one and throws out Gonzalez one away.
The Pats are too big for me now. I used to like them when they were the lovable losers.
Okay.
You know, and now
like Gino Cappelletti and Dave Perilli,
the big ball,
Mike Tolliver,
big stadium. You know, everything's big now.
You know, the opening night when they play,
still Foxborough, by the way,
with the throwback uniform.
Yeah,
that was a great uniform.
That helmet, one of the best helmets.
I miss that uniform. I don't like their blue uniforms now.
Yeah.
Pete Orr batting for Jamie Burke in the number 8 spot in the order.
It's like the Chargers had those baby blues. Oh gosh, the sky blue.
Was it Lance Allworth in those days?
Keith Lincoln, John Hadle.
John Hadle. There's a strike to Pete Orr, who started at second base yesterday and went 0 for 4. He was absolutely robbed of a hit his last time up yesterday by Luis Castillo. Josh Bard on deck to bat for the pitcher. Nice effort by Mock after giving up the 4 runs early. Winds up going 7 today.
Yeah, he did a nice job. Also a nice job by John Maine in coming in. Elmer descends with 2 scoreless.
And Orr fouls one off the end of the bat. Zach Segovia, the right-hander, up in the bullpen. Third quarter over at the Meadowlands. 13-9 Jets.
It's a long quarter to play.
1-2. Bouncing ball for Castillo. And Orr retired, 2 away. That is 10 straight Nats retired by 3 different Met pitchers. The Nats have only 2 hits today. That's the fewest that the Mets have given up in the game this year. They had a 2-hit performance against the Marlins back in April, and John Maine started that game as well.
Keith, when you grew up on the West Coast, do you have an East Coast team that you liked as a kid? Because I know I had a West Coast team that I always liked other than the Patriots.
Well, I love the Vikings. So that's not East Coast.
Well, but still, it's another division. Okay.
I love the Giants when they had White. I was a Y.A. Tittle fan. So when the 49ers traded him,
yeah,
I did not root for the 49ers anymore. I was so angry. I was a young kid. And when Y.A. went to Giants, I became a Giant fan.
Mine was the Rams. I always wanted to be Roman Gabriel, not only for the name, but also he was thought of in such a way. And my brother was always Jack Snow.
I always liked the Niners with John Brody.
There you go.
Kermit Alexander.
Kermit Alexander, wow. I was also a Colt fan. I don't have to confess, because of Johnny Unitas. I loved Johnny Unitas. And I always liked their helmets with the horseshoe. It's one of the few old throwback helmets they still use. My brother was a Browns fan.
Oh, that's a helmet they still use.
Like Charlie down in that clubhouse. Samuels.
Josh Bard bounces one down to Murphy. Nice easy hop. And a 1-2-3 inning for Sean Green on 3 ground balls. Move along to the bottom of the 8th. The Mets with a 4-0 lead. Bricks are on sale now. A new offering of bricks will be installed along the first and third base sides of the Jackie Robinson Rotunda for the 2010 season. Order your FanWalk brick today at Mets.com/FanWalk. All proceeds benefit charity through the Mets Foundation. Line score brought to you by BP. Try BP gasoline with Invigorate. It's been all Mets today. Great pitching from John Maine, Elmer Descends, and Sean Green to hold the Nats to just 2 hits over 8 innings. Josh Bard, who pinch hits, stays in the game behind the plate. And Zach Segovia takes over the pitching for the Nats.
Well, he had his contract. He's a September call-up from Syracuse in September 8, where he had did a real fine job down in Syracuse with a 2.54 ERA. You see his ERA, though, struggled here in only 3 appearances for the Nats.
Segovia was once a huge prospect. He was a number 2 pick out of high school in Texas by the Phillies back in '02, but this happens so often. Tommy John surgery on his elbow, shoulder surgery at the end of the '07 season, never quite fulfilled his promise, and now has bounced to Washington. Carlos Beltran drove in a run with a 3rd inning single. Carlos is 1 for 3 on the day. And takes a strike from Segovia. It'll be Beltran, Murphy, and Francoeur. Murphy's had the biggest offensive day for the Mets today with a double, triple, and 2 RBIs. Angel Pagan with 3 hits. Garrett Mock went 7 innings, allowed 4 runs and 9 hits. He walked only 2, struck out 5. But his team scored nary a run for him. Mets will be bidding for their 11th shutout victory of the season in the 9th inning. Logan Kensing, the former Marlin, is up in the Nationals bullpen. One and 2 to Beltran. Mets are trying to win a series for the first time since Labor Day. Back in the crowd. Still 2 and 2 to Beltran. Well, Frankie Rodriguez doesn't look like he's planning to come into this game in a non-save situation.
Look at Racanelli sitting down the job. What's that all about? Come on, Rack. You can't be sitting.
Dave Raccanello will be popping to his feet as soon as there's somebody to warm up. Beltran has his second hit of the day as he socks one into right field. So the Mets have their 10th hit of the afternoon. A leadoff base runner here in the last of the 8th. And now Murphy tripled to right center in the 2nd, doubled to right center to drive home 2 in the 3rd, and popped to short in the 6th.
265 on the year. Got into the 60 RBI range now.
And Murphy reaching for that off-speed pitch and fouls it off. 1-1.
Keep on throwing outside like that, you're going to get hurt. Ronnie, you ever notice that a lot of the hitters today just fall over the plate when they swing sometimes? Yeah. I mean, they never used to. Yeah, I don't recall that when we played.
I think a lot of it is, Keith, is that they have a lot wider stance than your day, where you were probably what, shoulder width apart?
Shoulder width.
Yeah. A little more spread out, so if they have to reach out for that little sinker away, it kind of takes them across the plate.
Victor Garrotti, the left-hander, Logan Kensing, the right-hander, up in the bullpen for the Nats. And now it's 3-2. Well, Jay Feely's just kicked a 39-yard field goal, and the Jets now lead the Pats 16-9.
How about the time?
9:48 to go.
Oh, Gary, that was
about an 8-minute drive.
That's an eternity in the NFL, Gary.
Smells like OT to me.
Could be. There goes Beltran, and Murphy fouls it off.
What a Jets defense, huh? Hallelujah.
No touchdowns so far today. Game in Atlanta still delayed, with the Phillies leading the Braves 4-1 in the 5th. That is not yet an official game. Beltran runs. Murphy lines one right to Gonzalez for an easy double play. 4-3 on the double play. 2 out and nobody on.
Nice choice by the Nationals with who was covering. Desmond, the shortstop, came over to cover, allowed Gonzalez to hold his position, and the double play on Murph.
So 2 out and nobody on for Jeff Francoeur, who's gone 0 for 3 today.
Nice. A nice day at the plate for Murph. Another one. Swung the bat excellent today.
The Twins lead the Tigers 2-1 as they go to the 5th inning in Minnesota.
That was a big game for Detroit. Both teams, actually.
Well, the Tigers are starting Nate Robertson, who's really banged up. Scott Baker going for Minnesota. You see Zimmerman in the shadow of that light stanchion.
Barely.
This is all new stuff for us. This is the new time of year. First year of the ballpark. We're getting a look how everything plays here. Shea was always a sun field, very difficult sun field in April and in, of course, September, and we're seeing it here.
Check swing foul.
Tough right field, sun field. Al right on cue with that shot.
We saw right fielders have more problems in April than we've seen so far in the September game.
Not only April in the day games, but also around 8-ish, 8 o'clock at night during April also, in right center especially. Well, it goes back to Francoeur getting a lot of September starts, even with the bad thumb. More he plays in right field, the better he'll be.
3-2 now to Jeff. Zach Segovia was so valuable to the Phillies that when they signed him to keep him going to the University of Miami, they hired his high school coach.
Wow.
Signed him for over $700,000, and that's a number of years ago.
You know, you can't predict the injuries that are going to happen to young pitchers. You know, I hear a lot of talk that you know, limiting innings, pitch counts, whatever. But sometimes you gotta, you know, a tank for a body, and sometimes you have paper mache. You just don't know.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily body type that determines.
It's true.
Again, the 3-2, and he missed inside ball 4, so Frank Court draws a rare walk. And the Mets have a 2-out base runner with Josh Tolley coming up. Now it looks like the Rangers are on their last legs. Angels lead Texas 9-5 in the 8th. Boston's up 8-2 on Baltimore in the 6th.
That's over.
It would appear to be. Texas actually is closer in the West than they are in the wild card, 6.5 behind the Angels starting today, so they would desperately need to win that game today.
Detroit, Minnesota, I think is the only one left standing.
Yeah, that would make Texas 8 behind Boston if it stays the way it is right now. That's too many to overcome.
And if Texas loses today and the Yankees win, the Yankees would clinch a postseason berth.
Teixeira with a home run and a double last night as he continues his move. 2 home runs?
Yep.
I missed one. As he continues his quest for the MVP.
A 5 RBI game yesterday.
Who was that?
Teixeira.
I wasn't paying attention, obviously.
That's all right.
We'll catch up.
We've done the greatest football baseball broadcast.
2-1 to Tolley. And it's ball 3. So Segovia, after getting that line drive double play, walks Frank Court, falls behind 3-1 on Tolley.
Well, should put him in motion here. Let Frank Court get on his horse.
Not many swing and misses from Mr. Tolley. Nope.
And he walked him, so back-to-back 2-out walks. And the Mets have 2 men on for Wilson Valdez.
Even more importantly, that at bat by Tolley. I don't know if you guys witnessed that, but you've been watching him swinging a lot of pitches up in the strike zone. Tolley took a couple, 2 or 3 pitches up in the strike zone for his last 2 walks.
Well, Jim Riggleman just signaled for the left-hander, so he's going to bring in Victor Garante, a left-hand pitcher, to face the right-hand batter Wilson Valdez. So Garante will come on. This call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. We'll be right back. Takes over for the Nats.
Well, he pitched this season in Double-A Chattanooga, claimed off waivers from the Los Angeles Dodgers by the Nationals on September 2nd. And you see he hasn't, just like Segovia, fared that well in a couple of games.
That waiver claim was part of the deal that sent Ronnie Belliard to the Dodgers, and what a job Belliard's done with L.A. Hit a grand slam last night, his 4th home run since they picked him up 3 weeks ago.
Well, remember in 06, I mean, for the Cardinals, Belliard's one of those guys that might have an unusual swing, but he gets his hits, doesn't he?
You put him in a winning situation.
Yes.
He's a winning player.
He needs to be motivated. He's a perfect guy to pick up for a contending team because he's got a world of talent. His problem is that he gets very lethargic and he can't maintain it. It's really a good move by the Dodgers to pick him up. Don't know about bringing him back, though, next season.
No, he's a short-term acquisition.
Right, just get him like the Cardinals got him that 1 year. How many years ago was that?
Got him from Cleveland, right? In 06.
And he did a heck of a job for him down the run, too.
Yep.
They went to the World Series. They were a World Series winner.
Garate actually started on the Astros organization. He was signed by the same scout who signed Johan Santana. Andres Rayner. Just inside to Valdez, 2-2. If Valdez keeps the inning going, Fernando Tatis would come up to pinch hit. And Garate's 2-2. Smack down the right field line. That's an extra base hit for Valdez going to the corner. Francoeur scores easily. Totally being waved around. Duke's just getting the ball. On his way to third is Valdez. He's in with a 2-run triple. And it's 6-0 New York. Second triple of the year for Wilson Valdez.
Well, 2 out walks. They wind up scoring, and Valdez continues to swing a very hot bat. Dukes misses the cutoff man. Francoeur going to score easily.
Well, Jim Riggleman brought in a lefty to face Wilson Valdez, and Valdez makes him pay for that. The Mets' second triple of the day. They're 27th since the All-Star break. That's the most in the majors. That'll be the only batter Garate will face. They'll bring in Logan Kensing to face Tatis. Call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. Logan Kensing in to pitch to Fernando Tatis.
Well, Kensing, who was in Syracuse for most of the season, was their closer, had 17 saves down on the farm. Third stint with the Nationals this season.
Tatis takes wide, and it's 2-0. Mets have added a couple here in the 8th inning on a 2-run triple by Wilson Valdez. 6 runs and 11 hits for the Mets this afternoon.
Valdez has done a pretty nice job, hasn't he, at shortstop? Made a fine play in the hole today. Saw how good his arm is. He's got a shortstop arm.
I think what he's done, he's at least injected himself into the conversation for next spring as to who the Mets will carry as a backup middle infielder. Obviously, Alex Cora did a marvelous job for this team this year before he underwent surgery on both his thumbs. But Valdez is more of a pure shortstop than Cora is.
Agreed. I think he's done a nice job. Hit just enough. He's shown a couple of bunt base hits while he's been up with the big club.
3-1 to Tatis. Inside ball 4, the third walk of the inning by the Washington bullpen.
Jeez. Drive a manager crazy.
Kensing, of course, Mets fans know him from his Florida days when it seemed like he was invariably in every game the last couple of seasons.
Oh, he had a great arm.
Yes, he did. And then he had surgery like all the others. And
well, a chance for a 4-hit afternoon for Angel Pagan. 2 singles and a double today. He scored a run. First and third and 2 out, and Kensing having trouble throwing a strike. Zach Segovia started the inning, gave up a hit and then a line drive double play, and then after 2 out and nobody on, 2 walks, Garate came in, gave up the triple to Valdez, and now Kensing with the walk to Tatis.
Garate and Segovia sitting on opposite sides of the locker room right now.
Give up the other guys 2 runs.
That's right.
Tell you what, you walk 2 guys with 2 out, nobody on, you deserve what you get.
Agreed.
Way outside, 2-1 to Pagan.
It's like home plate's right there.
Hasn't moved.
Not since the stadium opened.
That's right.
There's a strike, 2-2.
You know, one thing that'll be interesting in spring training next year is when the powers that be gather all the Mets pitchers together. I know the first talk is going to be, listen, if you walk people in spring training, you're not going to make the club. If you walk during the season, you're going to go back down to AAA. That'll be the mantra, I'm sure.
Fouled away. Well, one thing has happened here today. When the day began, Met pitchers had walked 572, the most in the league. Nationals pitchers had walked 571. Well, Nats pitchers today have walked 5, and Met pitchers have walked only 1, and so the Nats are the new league leader in that dubious category.
Well, there's a famous home plate.
That one hasn't moved either. It's in the parking lot now.
Well, the first couple of years, I needed that border with a little bigger home plate there. I would have been in better shape.
Three and 2. Tatis runs. Pagan strikes out. Side retired. Mets add 2 on the Valdez triple. And we head for the 9th. Brian Stokes will try and finish things off for the Mets, who lead at 6-0. Your local Jeep dealers. By McDonald's, new McCafe coffees made fresh with ground espresso now at McDonald's. By Chase, now with over 14,000 ATMs nationwide. Chase, what matters. By Emblem Health, the plan that works. By Boar's Head, premium deli meats and cheeses. And by Lexus and the new HS Hybrid. Brian Stokes on to pitch the 9th inning for New York.
Well, of course, not a safe situation. So Francisco Rodriguez with the seat. Stokes in.
Stokes in again.
Top of the batting order for the Nats, Willie Harris. 3 fly ball outs today. 0 for 3. And 1 for 11 in the series, mostly hitting the ball in the air. It'll be Harris, then Ian Desmond and Ryan Zimmerman for the Nats, who've been held to just 2 hits today. They've had only 3 base runners. A walk to Jamie Burke in the 3rd. Base hits by Willingham and Gonzalez in the 5th. Since then, Met pitchers have retired 11 consecutive Nationals hitters.
You always know it's a long game when the airplanes at LaGuardia start taking off again. You know, you go that lull period, they take off in bunches.
Yeah.
And then now what is it? It's at 4 o'clock they start taking off again.
Now the shadow is starting to encroach.
Little tidbits, Gare, that we used to pay attention to.
You used to pay attention to because the planes bothered you, right, in the box?
Yeah, they bought them in the box, but you know, murder when you had a hangover.
That never happened. Come on. Plane's taking the wide turn around Citi Field here. 3-1 from Stokes, and he takes a strike. 3-2.
Well, unlike the Nationals pitchers, here's a chance for Stokes. He just got to groove one and let Mr. Harris hit it 400 feet if he can.
Well, he's been trying the whole series. Ian Desmond on deck. Fouled away. Want to go out of play. John Maine went the first 5, allowed no runs and 2 hits. In line for his first win since coming off the disabled list. Elmer descends 2 perfect innings. Sean Green 1 perfect inning. Again, the 3-2 to Harris, and he pops one up. Should be playable.
Again.
Tolley coming back, and he's got it. Tolley staying with it, almost tripped over something in the on-deck circle. He got the donuts and the weighted bats, and he might have had something in his eye as well.
That's right, folks. You're as an opposing player, you're not required to move any of that stuff in the on-deck circle, and you can see he tripped over it.
Stayed with it, though, as they say. Nice play, Josh.
Don't forget, for continuing coverage right after we're done here, flip it over to SNY for Lincoln Mercury post-game live after all 162 Met games this year on SNY right after the game.
And that fire-breathing dragon, Bobby Ojeda of late. You could tune into Mr. Ojeda.
Well, not much for him to say today, except that the Mets have played themselves a fine ball game this afternoon.
Spaniard.
Ian Desmond pops one up in foul ground. Murphy will watch this one go out of play.
Did you know the '86 Mets, Gary, had 3 Spaniards on the team? Myself, Bobby, and Aguilera. 3 Spaniards. We were 3 caballeros.
3 amigos.
That's right.
I can just picture you on your little hobby horses. You know, like the ones they have in Houston for Carlos Lee.
That's right.
El Caballo.
El Caban.
Well, that's quick draw McGraw. Little dribbler, tough play for Tolley, and he has no play. Ian Desmond with an infield hit. At the Meadowlands, 3:36 to go. Jets just took over after a punt.
Oh.
On their own 23.
Oh, wow. They're in the driver's seat.
Leading 16-9.
Oh, look at that shadow.
Hey, yep.
That's shadow cam.
Shadow can fly, by the way.
It's very nice. That's a different look. I don't think we've seen that one before. That's the artist in Bill Webb coming out.
Bill's just bored down there.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 3 today. 1 out and 1 on, 9th inning. 6-0 Mets. Desmond runs. Zimmerman lines one to the gap in right center. That'll get to the wall. Desmond will score easily. And Zimmerman pulls into second base with an RBI double. His 97th run batted in to break up the shutout. It's 6-1.
Well, nice hitting. This is a bullet.
Trying to get ahead with that first pitch fastball. Zimmerman would have none of it.
Waist high, belt high. That is just right on. And that's beautiful hitting.
Well, you got to like the way he can use the right field. Right, a home run to right field in the first game of this series here at double to right center.
Only the 4th Nationals hit of the day. Their first extra base hit. Now Adam Dunn, who's gone 0 for 3 today. Just 1 for 11 in this series. So the Mets have done a nice job containing Mr. Dunn. All-speed pitch from Stokes, and it's 1-1. In tight, 2-1 to Dunn. Now Frankie Rodriguez going to start getting loose in the Mets bullpen just in case. A run in, a man on. Mets with a 5-run lead in the 9th. Ripped down the right field line, an extra base hit going to the corner. That'll score Zimmerman easily. Dunn, though, will stop at first as Francoeur played that carom. Dunn taking no chances. Drives in his 101st run of the year to make it 6-2 New York.
Well, lucky this ball did not get airborne because this is a bullet.
Too much plate. Full extension. You can see the eyes. That's a great shot. Just in the driver's seat there. Very nice.
What's Francoeur's job here? It's like a ping pong ball out there.
That was amazing. That came off that side railing, and somehow he knew exactly where to go to play it.
Yep.
That's a tough play.
He's getting more and more comfortable out there. As Dan Worthen going out to speak to Brian.
And K-Rod knows that one more base runner would create a save situation, so he's ready. Here's Josh Willingham, who's 1 for 3. The Tigers scored 3 runs in the 5th inning to go ahead of the Twins 4-2 as they play the bottom of the 5th at the Metrodome. Tigers with a 2-game lead on the Twins. Runner goes. The Mets ignore Dunn, who pulls in on defensive indifference at second base.
It's interesting. He knew he didn't have to take a chance because he knew he'd be at second anyways. I don't know if that was what he was thinking, but that's pretty smart.
Willingham takes a slider for a strike, and it's 0-2. Brian Stokes gave up a walk to Ian Desmond and 2 hard hit balls to Zimmerman and Dunn to plate 2 runs. Trying to hang on here in the 9th. And Willingham wastes one away to stay alive. Game in Atlanta still being delayed by rain with the Phillies up 4-1 in the 5th. Florida has lost in Cincinnati 8-1. And it's a killer for the Marlins. So they at the moment fall 4.5 behind Colorado, with the Rockies just about to get started in Arizona.
So the Phillies are experiencing what the Mets experienced.
Yep.
A getaway day rain. Only it's a day game, though.
Well, that's not an official game, so if they ever get rained out, that game gets washed away. 1-2. Breaking ball in there for a call, strike 3. Willingham down looking for the second out of the 9th.
Good pitch here, Ronnie.
Slider right on the corner. Hard breaker, starts in the middle. Well, I think Willingham might have been affected a little bit by the shadows now. They really are coming in to play. See how they're creeping. That's tough.
So now Elijah Dukes, the last hope for the Nats, and he takes a slider for a strike. 2-minute warning at the Meadowlands. Jets about to punt, leading 16-9.
Uh-oh. I don't like to hear that.
And a strike to Dukes, and Stokes ahead 0-2. And so the Nats are down to their final strike. $38,347 the paid crowd today. 0-2. Slider just off the plate, 1-2. Stokes trying to finish it off for John Maine, who went 5 scoreless today in his second start back after more than 3 months on the disabled list. One, 2. 2-2 to Dukes. Alberto Gonzalez would be next. Mets and Braves tomorrow night. Pat Mish against Derek Lowe, first of 3. With the Braves still alive, hanging on by their fingernails. And another slider, and it's 3-2. So a full count to Dukes. If Dukes gets on, Frankie Rodriguez would have a save chance. Stokes trying to make that moot. 3-2. He walked him. And now the Nats have 2 men on. And let's see if Jerry goes to K-Rod. This would be a gimme save for Frankie. And Jerry comes out. And K-Rod's going to come in. So Stokes unable to seal the deal, giving up 2 hits and 2 walks, 2 runs here in the 9th inning. And he will exit with a couple of men on in favor of K-Rod. The call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. The final out and trying to get his 33rd save of the year.
Got his 32nd yesterday with a couple of punch outs in an inning of work against the Nationals.
Brian Schneider comes in to catch along with him. Christian Guzman will bat for Alberto Gonzalez. 2 out, 2 on top of the 9th, 6-2 New York. And the first pitch yanked foul, 0-1. If you're wondering why this constitutes a save situation, the save rule reads that if you come in with the tying run on base, at bat, or on deck, all you have to do is get one out for a save, and because the tying run is on deck, this constitutes a save situation.
Ronnie, 4th and 10. They're down to their last. New England's down to their last play.
That's at their own 28 with 1:10 to go.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings.
Guzman takes inside and low, and Schneider just got a piece of it. Interesting they took Tolley out, as they did yesterday when K-Rod came in the game.
You know, Josh, just learning these pitchers, of course, and if you got to catch a guy, Francisco Rodriguez has some of the nastiest stuff on the team. He's got that disappearing changeup, great slider, and you probably want the veteran Schneider to be in there here to catch Rodriguez.
1-1 to Guzman. And he takes a strike, and again the Nats are down to their final strike. Brady incomplete on 4th down. Jets get the football, and it looks like it's over at the middle.
About that.
Very nice. What a start.
Jets with a minute to go.
Brady threw 4 incompletes in a row that series. He had all kinds of pressure on him.
23 for 47 today.
All kinds of pressure they put on him.
Well, a great job of the Jets defense, held them without a touchdown. 1-2 to Guzman. Foul back. I mean, that's 2 straight weeks they've held the opposition without a touchdown. The only touchdown they've given up came on an interception.
You can talk that talk, but if you can back it up, very nice.
Well, they got a home game next week. I think they've got Tennessee coming in.
It's not going to be an easy one.
K-Rod trying to register the final strike to save it for John Maine. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Frankie Rodriguez finishes it off for his 33rd save. John Maine gets a victory in his 2nd start back from the disabled list, and the Mets take the series 2-1 as they beat the Nats 6-2.
Well, 1 out save there for Francisco Rodriguez, his 33rd of the year. Jim Riggleman's Nationals lose 2 out of 3, and the Mets take a series, and a series that they have been waiting for since Labor Day.
Well, it was a team effort all the way around. Daniel Murphy, the hitting star, 2 for 4, a double triple, 2 ribeye steaks. Also, Wilson Valdez continues to hit. He's got a 2 RBI triple in the 8th that broke the game open. So, excellent performance by the Mets all the way around.
Here's a Chief game summary. John Maine gets his first victory in the Dog's age since the month of May.